You know, here. What's up? I was thinking about something.
What are we thinking about, bro?
I was thinking about what's going on in the earth, right?
What's happening in our minds?
Yeah, and I wondered, why does it matter?
We're about to find out.
Holy shit. Ready? Just kidding. Welcome to Earth, Mind, and Matter. We said, fuck it, let's talk about albums. We said, let's talk about some movies and some fucking comics. This week in the universe, across the internet.
So what's up, Javi?
What's going on, Frankie? Do you want to redo the intro?
Why?
Because, you know, I just feel like it. We had that microsecond of silence. It's just, I feel like it was too awkward.
It was too silent. We should have been like talking the whole time.
It's like, and then honestly, we should just redo our intro song while we're at it.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
We should do. You know what song I listen to a lot? Boston. It's called. It might be a feeling. You know that song?
I don't know. And it's from Boston?
From Boston, yeah.
Fuck, I don't know.
Yo, bro, I was into that song I got into the hotel room. I connected to Bluetooth, and all you heard was from outside. And it was just me fucking rocking out.
Yeah, because you went to Utah.
I went to Utah, man. Utah was fucking ass. I hated it every single Monday of it. Nah, I had a good ass time. That shit was mountains everywhere, bro.
I fucking bet.
Mountains, rich people, Mormons. Did you know, and this said in his fact check just because the Uber driver told me, so it's officially true.
Okay.
when Mormons were there, and they still are, they used to have a lot of control. And they controlled the level of alcohol. Like that the percentage that was sold. So you couldn't buy anything over like 4%. And was weird to me. She said you had to have like a special ticket or like join a certain like membership to buy alcohol in Utah.
Huh.
And a whole bunch of weird rules. Like they're just a bunch of weirdos, bro. But they have like 5 wives, so you know.
Huh. Mormons have 5 wives?
Yeah, they can marry up to like a bunch of people.
Wow.
Yeah, bro. They clap in multiple cheeks.
I mean, when you got nothing else to do, it's basically like might as well just clap some cheeks.
Shout out to our Mormon listeners. You know, Earth-minded Mormons.
That's an oxymoron.
Also, define oxymoron to be
clear. When you use like 2 opposite words or something, like when something's icy hot,
like Bengay.
Like that's like an oxymoron. So it's like Mormons don't use tech. So it's like they couldn't be listeners.
They don't use tech?
I mean, that's their whole thing.
I thought that was the Amish.
Or fuck, you're right. I got them confused.
Oh my god, bro!
They're like
there goes our 1,700 Mormon listeners, man.
You know, whatever, man. As if I care.
Fucking Mormons, bro.
No,
shit.
I'm sorry. I only mean it half serious.
3/4?
3.785 inches.
Oh. Shout out to all the Mormon that are 3.75 inches.
785, Frankie. Oh. 785.
God damn.
My God. Are you deaf?
Nah, I'm Mormon.
Because you better pay attention this episode. I'm gonna be throwing you some curveballs left and right.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, man.
Shit.
Better be on your A game today.
A baseball reference.
Yes.
Let's go Mets.
Because I'm a sports fan.
Oh yeah? You are.
You want to know? You want to know what happened at the concert I went to Friday night?
You call something.
Well, actually, my cousin caught a drumstick at some point.
Nice, man.
And then he lost it.
Please take away that nice. Actually, I'm gonna give you a clip to edit the nice in. I'm gonna say trash. How'd he drop it? How'd he lose it? He just lost it?
In the pit, man.
Oh, okay.
Just moshing and stuff. But at some point in the crowd, everyone started chanting, "Let's go Rangers."
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because I think they lost yesterday, though. Did they win? Who knows?
They lost on Thursday, I think, because my brother was like, didn't they just lose like yesterday? And he asked someone, and that guy was like, yeah, but fuck it.
We do it anyway. Oh, shit. So it's out of 7, the playoff things. And they're tied, so this is gonna be a game 7, which is like a big deal.
Oh wow!
And there's also a game 7 tonight. Who you got, Celtics or Heat?
I'm gonna go with Celtics.
I'll pick them too because I bet I've lost about $175 since I landed in Utah betting on fucking boxing and basketball. So don't bet, kids.
Please take from the wise.
Jesus Christ, I be winning one week and then losing most weeks. So it really isn't fun. It really isn't fun. But
yeah, I mean, dude, that concert I went to on Friday was a fucking blast.
You saw
man.
Prince Dan Hainer, right?
Yes, I did.
How was that, bro?
It was really good, man. They by the end of the night, they played almost everything that I wanted them to play. Like, I honestly was like, I think that's all I needed to hear. I was like, that they played every song I wanted.
Just shove some screwdrivers in your ear. You don't gotta hear no more, bro. You don't gotta hear no more.
They were really good, man. And
that's awesome.
I took my cousin to his first punk show, Jordan.
Okay. Shout out to Jordan.
And Lucas came as well. We went with Josh, and shout out to Josh and his little sister Savannah. It was her first time going to a punk show.
And you whole fucking row of people that you know. Nice.
And we had a whole fucking blast, man. It was great. They had this really good opener called Insignificant Other.
Okay.
And they like reshared my story posts and everything, and I was like, you guys killed it. And the lead guitarist liked my story, and they were like, thank you so much and all this. I'm like, yo, man, fucking share the love. I even started sharing the love with one of Prince Daddy's like tour managers or something, like the guy that runs the merch pretty much, because I've seen him in like all their social posts. And so when I saw him running the merch stuff, and I went to get a long sleeve and their first record, and I was like, yo, hey man, what's going on? He seems surprised that someone is actually trying to have a conversation with him.
Okay, so usually the band is getting the attention instead of him. Okay,
because I was just like, hey man, like, how's your night? And
he looked behind him. He was like, who, me?
He was like, he genuinely was shocked. He was like, oh, I'm good.
That's good, man.
I'm like, thanks, man. How are you? And I was like, I'm fucking great, man. I was like, let me get this and that.
Yeah.
And he was like, nice. And I was like, yo, man, you have yourself a great fucking night. And he was like, thank you.
He was just like, care, love, appreciation. That's dope. Nah, I feel like when you're a fan and you give that to somebody that's part of the whatever you're a fan of, they really do appreciate that shit. Like, they go home and shit, and they're like, yo, somebody recognized my ass. I'm famous.
Yeah, it was a really dope show, man.
Nice.
A lot of crowd surfing. Almost too much crowd surfing, some would say.
Like, so there were just like 17 people in the air.
Well, they were just like a lot of repeats. Like, you'd see like the same people just go up over and over and over again.
Like, yo, bro, I've touched your ass 5 times. Honestly,
and it's just kind of like, yo, man, you gotta chill.
Yeah.
So a lot of crowd surfing, a little too much, but because it also, because there was so much crowd surfing, you couldn't really mosh because everyone had to watch out for the people crowd surfing.
Got you.
So it was kind of like a give or take situation.
You ever have an artist jump on you for like this crowd surf? Like, you know, when they jump off stage?
Well, I don't know if you saw my story, but the lead singer to Prince Daddy, Corey, he did that during their opening song.
You should have asked him when he was there, like, yo, come on for a matter.
Right?
Just come on, man.
But he fucking just dived right into the stage, so cool, like, while he was singing the song, and threw him back up on stage so he can continue.
That's so much trust.
And the lead singer to Insignificant Other crowd surfed at some point as well. I carried her for like the longest point at some point. She was like on my shoulders, and I was like, dear God, someone help me.
Just walk out with her.
I walked like 5 feet with her on my shoulders. I'm like, yo, man, someone take her. And the lead guitarist at some point just fucking dove into the stage to the point where everyone was like, oh shit,
like, we might not catch this bitch.
Big ass dude. And he was okay, but it was really dope.
It's
really,
like DJ
really
Khaled's crowd surfing.
Oh God, I couldn't ever. But yeah, it was really hectic in a good way.
Okay.
But it was really dope. So
nice, man.
I had myself a nice little weekend.
Let's go into many more concerts, you know?
And, you know, I really wanted to open this up with a lighthearted episode because we are going to get into some serious shit.
Talk about some trash.
But just for one topic.
Okay.
It's just going to be for one topic. And then the other 2 things are a little off course.
Happy, go healthy.
I'm trying to bring good vibes today.
Yeah, man. Honestly,
trying to have ourselves a good day, good episode.
It's Memorial Day? Is it today?
Tomorrow will be Memorial Day.
It's
so
nice.
Tomorrow when this episode comes out, y'all will be sipping on your Mai Tais
your
in Cancun.
America. your America drinks. It's Memorial Day Eve, if anything.
Yeah,
It's
well,
Memorial
let's
Day
go
Eve.
with that because we're that patriotic.
Yeah, man. All I do is think about America and how amazing it is.
All I do is wear my American flag boxers. But it makes me so upset that I can't just walk out the door with just my boxers on.
Even though you have the freedom.
You know, like I could be a nudist if I wanted to.
Exactly, that's America.
But I can't because people are so mean.
They're so disgusting.
Like who?
People.
That's the right answer.
Yeah. Well, I seen Slipknot before I left to Utah, right?
Yeah.
So I never thought in my whole life I would see Slipknot. That was so fucking random, right? And I went with our good buddy Angel and Beatrice. And yo, man, just to put it out there, so they had like it was Barclays Center, so it was a huge crowd, right? And they did moshing of their own when the show started. I will say this, and I guess because I was just far from the mosh pit, it didn't seem that hectic. I imagine their fans are a little older too, and like you know. But I saw it and I was like, that's a little weird. I thought it was gonna be way crazier, you know. They have fire coming out their fucking heads and shit like that. But all in all, and in short, it was a crazy good concert.
Nice.
Like visually, it was amazing. Like they put up theatrics alongside their music. Their music was just something that like I figured it'd be. Some of the songs were good, but just observing how you put on a show visually was incredible. Just like flames. They had the two people on the right drumming crazy.
At that sort of like level of fame and like price, honestly, for your tickets, like you're kind of paying for like those
the show.
At that point.
And one thing I liked about the lead singer, who I don't know his name, his voice is crazy. His voice is, because when he comes on the stage, I can't replicate it, but he has such a clear voice, and then he was you know. But what I really wanted to point out is that he did this thing where he was like, put the lights on. They put the lights on the crowd, and he was like, there we go. I want to see you guys. He kept referring to the crowd as his family, right? He's like, look to the left, look to the right. Like, this is your family. He's like, no matter. Then he did the cheesy thing, which, you know, I respect. He was like, no matter, you know, what you look like, what color you are, who you look, all that stuff. Like, it was just really dope how heartfelt it was. Like he would say that, and then he would be like, rah, rah, rah. and then he just kept repeating that stuff. And as he said that, when he was like, look to your left and look to your right, not only did Angel do it, but some lady to my left was just smiling, looking up at people. And I was like, yo, this is so fucking beautiful. Like I didn't expect this to be that like nice over here, you know?
Yeah.
And I had a great ass time, man.
You know, it's always kind of been said in the community, but metal people are some of the nicest people.
Yeah, man. I really see that shit because because they just go so hard with the it's so funny.
Yeah, I saw Angel's post for it.
Yeah.
Boy recorded almost like the whole concert.
And he was headbanging, man. I had my hair tied up. I was just like, you know, I'm just observe today. But it was fucking cool. And then he said one thing. He said, the lead singer, who I should look it up, but I don't really want to. He said, nobody listens to music like people who listen to metal or hard rock, because people who listen to that genre do use their whole body to listen to it. Like, you know, like they actually really go hard with the music, and that was really cool. And I saw Cypress Hills with half of Cypress Hills because the other guy was sick.
Yeah.
Cool. Very fucking cool, man. I had a good ass time. So a week for concerts.
Honestly, I mean, I went. I think your first weekend in Utah, I went to go see this band Turnstile.
Nice.
This is actually a fun story because I didn't think I was gonna be able to go see them.
Yeah.
Because I had already told you about how when Josh and I were looking up tickets, they were sold out. And we were really upset about it. And then come the day of the concert, it finally hit me. I was like, what am I doing? I should check Reddit. Yeah. And so I start going on Reddit, and I find that people are selling tickets, but the posts are from like an hour, 2 hours ago. And so I start trying to find someone that can sell a ticket. I'm refreshing the subreddit every other minute. And finally I respond to someone's post 3 minutes after they make the post.
Really?
And I was like, nice. I got it. I'm right in there. And then he doesn't respond for maybe like 20, 30 minutes.
Damn.
And he finally responds. He goes, sold, sorry. And I go, no worries. And this guy puts me on a roller coaster. Yeah. He goes, hold up. I can get you one more if you're interested. I say, yes. He goes, sorry, sold the other one already. I'm the worst. I'm sorry. Lol. And I put the crying eyes emoji. Yeah. And he goes, wait, I can get you one more. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah. And I say, I'm down. And he explained that his group was supposed to go, but one of them got COVID, so they couldn't go. And then another one of them bailed because of the heat, because it was really hot that day.
Okay, it was outdoors or inside?
It was indoors.
It was just hot as fuck.
It was just hot as fuck that weekend here in New York.
I heard it reached like 90 or some shit.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I was I was sweating just standing before anything even started. I was sweating bullets before anything started. It was disgusting.
Just a stinky mosh pit.
But fucking yeah, so that dude was like, yeah, I got tickets. I got one more ticket. He sold me the ticket for $30.
Nice. Damn, you were saying it was like 120 or some shit like that,
The
right?
resale was $150. He sold it to me for $30.
He's just a really
and
nice
when
guy.
he sent me the ticket, I saw that it would cost it $35.
Oh,
so
wow.
he sold it for less than what it costed. I'm like, yo, what a guy.
Oh, that's God.
Fucking shout out to Easy Baby on Reddit.
I did not expect that to be his name though. Easy Baby, like EZ or
Easy
EAZ?
E Baby.
Oh shit, as baby. As baby. Shout out to you. And sucks that you couldn't go to the show.
Yeah, he told me that I should also check Twitter for other people selling tickets, because he was only selling the one ticket, and I needed one for Josh too. And I finally found someone that was trying to sell 2 tickets.
Yeah.
And I called up Lucas and was like, "Yo, Lucas, you trying to go to a concert tonight?" And his bum ass said no. He's like, "I'm tired." I was like, "You're a bum."
I didn't expect that.
I was so upset. So I started talking to this person on Twitter, and I was like, "How much are you willing to sell one ticket? Because I only need the one." And she was like, I was really trying to sell it as a set, and I was like, "Come on, would you really consider just selling one?
Yeah.
I already have my own ticket, this and that." And she said, "Okay, fine, for $65."
Nice.
So Josh got his ticket for $65.
Still better than 120.
Yes. And they were fucking amazing, man.
Nice,
they were
man.
so good. They killed that shit.
Nice.
The second they started, everyone just pushed to the front, and immediately people were moshing and crowd surfing to the first fucking song.
And it was Turnstile, right? That's
Yes.
the name, man. Check out Turnstile.
They were fucking dope. So it's been a great time of concerts, man.
Music summer's just getting started, man. It's hot as fuck out here.
Ooh, it's
Ooh.
summer.
Yeah, man. Yeah, get your fucking tank tops. Just tank tops.
I've already been wearing mine. Don't worry.
Yeah, nice.
I wore a tank top to the Turnstile concert because I was like, I'm not like fucking wearing anything other than this.
That'd be a good name for a band, tank top.
Tank
Right?
top.
That'd be pretty cool. I'm about to start a band.
I don't know, because like that has like the same energy of like Mouse Rat.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like vague, or you don't know what you expect. But it's everybody just wearing tank tops, but no pants. Just, no underwear, just tank tops.
The first like album cover should be
A shirt.
No, you know that thing? It's like no shoes, no shirt, no service.
No tank top.
No tank top, no shirt, no service.
We're about to start a band.
Let's fucking do it.
Tank top. Don't copy us, motherfuckers. That's our idea. But anyway, we're here. And what are we doing today, Javi?
We're on the earth,
This is what's in our mind.
and this is why it matters.
This is Earth, Mind, and Matter. I'm Frankie.
I'm Javi.
And well, thank you for listening. We are here.
This is our long introduction. Like I said, we're just having fun today.
It's good vibes today. It's good vibes until it isn't.
Yes.
Because it will definitely get a little deep today. Yeah.
But this week I'm hosting. We're gonna be going over a few things. 2 news topics, and then a special reading.
Nice.
And then for the A.M.C. section, we're gonna be down to movies.
Okay.
And we'll get to that in a second because it's kind of a special A.M.C. section.
Very special.
But pretty much to sort of dive into the topics, we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
Since it's kind of what we do, but we got to talk about the Uvalde shooting
Yes. In Texas.
in Texas. So we're going to get into that for a little bit. And then we're going to get into a reading of something that I wrote back in 2019.
Nice.
And it's kind of like sort of autobiographical. So y'all motherfuckers get to learn a little more about me.
Okay.
And then the third topic is a little more news topic again, where it's about PlayStation being drawn into the abortion debate.
Oh, what the fuck?
It's not necessarily new news. It happened a couple weeks ago, but I was struggling to find anything else going on. I guess the people don't really want to do anything after the shooting.
Yeah,
man.
that's every single news headline. I try to look myself. There's a bunch of shit, but that's pretty much what's been swallowing the whole news world. It's disgusting.
Yeah. So just to get into it, I guess. There's really no other way to do it.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get fucking serious here. But this shit, Uvalde shooting in Uvalde, Texas, happened on May 24th. That was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
happened in Robb Elementary School, where 19 children and 2 teachers died.
Yeah.
It is the deadliest shooting since Sandy Hook in 2012, which happened in Newtown, Connecticut, which had 20 children and 6 teachers die.
It's crazy.
And pretty much the time frame of this whole shooting was from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m.
And it was the deadliest in Texas ever.
Yes.
Ever.
And before we get into the shooting itself, there's I'm gonna have a little preamble to about the shooter himself.
Okay.
Because in the case of Salvador Ramos, who was 18,
that piece of shit.
There was little to raise official alarm ahead of the shooting because he had no history of mental illness or no apparent criminal record, and that there seemed to be no motive or catalyst for the shooting to happen. And that to get a little more into it, those who knew the gunman said that he had been slipping away pretty much, and that he appeared to have dropped out of high school and often frightened his coworkers at his job at Wendy's. And when he'd be picked on, he would lash out in response. That acquaintances said that he frequently missed class and had few friends, but out of the few friends, one of them would play Call of Duty and Fortnite with him, and that friend would hear him argue with his mom, who would tell him to go to school and that he was wasting his life away.
Yeah.
This kid was also constantly bullied at school, and the friend said that he would often leave his mom's to stay with his grandmother after big fights. And that it seemed like he was spending more time there at his grandmother's in the past year. Several people who also followed him on Instagram said that they had met through websites designed to connect strangers. One of them is called Yubo, which is an app where you can just sort of live stream yourself. And
pretty much every social media app I would say is to connect strangers too, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like just like that.
But definitely these are apps that are more directed towards that, where it's just like, you know, you link up with a random person like, just on the spot.
Like what's it called?
Like speed dating
Omegle?
Almost. Yes, that Omegle was listed also as one of the services or apps that he was using. An example of what he used to do on these apps is that one woman said that he live streamed himself holding a gun with blood visibly on the floor and claimed that it was a nosebleed. So there are definitely things that sort of hint and peek at the fact that this guy like definitely had some issues. This kid.
That's kind of why I don't. When people, I've seen that headline where say this guy had no trace of mental health issues and stuff, and all that stuff. I just feel I didn't necessarily appreciate that headline a lot from when I saw it because it was on every news thing. It's just that's a trace back to just again the how we handle mental health, and you know we don't check up on that as much as we do. Like I know we are now in schools and everything, but I've always had this to think that you know we go to a checkup for a doctor, right? For what? To check up our body, to check up our health,
like a physical. Yeah,
and how that seems like something that's so required and necessary because it is. But also, how important is it to get a checkup on your mind? You know, like talk to a professional and this and that to evaluate somebody. I feel that people think they only need to do that when they're in times of severity or, you know, sick, like real, like tragedy, when it should be a regular thing. You know, even if life is going, quote unquote, well, I think that they should do checkups on that as much as they do with like physical pain and whatever. And yeah, so that's why when people write that stuff, I just kind of think that it's because this country lacks so much focus on that subject matter that he's doesn't have any trace back of this, you know? Because if he was required to check up on that, they would see crazy motherfucker, you know?
I mean, definitely a lot of Republicans have kind of been bringing attention to that, but also they're not really making any plans about it. They're just kind of like, this is a case about mental health.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Like, fuck Ted Cruz. Fuck Ted Cruz and his whole family, bro. Like, I know his family is innocent in it, but he's a piece of shit, man. Like, and every motherfucker that's been bought up by the NRA just to cover up this as a only mental health issue and that it's not the, you know, guns fall and this and that, you know, like I don't shit on, like, I appreciate that you can have guns in the country. I still think you should be able to, but I do think that it's pathetic how people will just not try to make this an issue of politics. You know, politicians will just make it not that when it clearly is. This kid bought guns in a state where you don't need a permit to have one when he just turned 18. Yeah. And they were AR-15s.
And we'll definitely get into a little bit more of some of the details with that because So like I said, he had live streamed himself with like the nosebleed and the gun thing. He also posted on Instagram a picture of 2 black rifles over the weekend before the shooting. And to get back to his job at Wendy's, one employee one employee said that he would curse at the customers, at the managers, even at me. And she recalled once that he said, "I'm going to shoot up this Wendy's," and that she thought he was just joking. And that 2 weeks ago, she said he stopped showing up to work. He purchased an AR-style rifle on May 17th, a day after his 18th birthday. And then he bought another one on May 20th. In between those dates, he bought 375 rounds of ammo.
It's ridiculous.
And during all this, he had been messaging obliquely about his plans with a 15-year-old girl from Germany. This girl didn't want to give her real name, so she only gave her nickname as Cece. And she said that he had video called her in the days around his birthday from a gun store, and that he had also showed a black bag full of ammo and a gun. On Tuesday morning, the day of the shooting, this is just kind of interesting, that Narcidalia Luna and her 8-year-old grandson, who's a 3rd grader, attended an end-of-the-year awards program in the school's cafeteria, and that her grandson wanted to go home early, and so they did. And she said, "I gave in, and I'm glad I did." And they returned to their home on Diaz Street. Along that same short street, Mr. Ramos was living with his grandma. So it's just like small town type deal. But and less than half a mile away from there was Robb Elementary School. And so Mr. Ramos texted Cece just after 11 a.m., annoyed with his grandma, who was calling about AT&T about his cell phone. And he said in the text, "I'm going to do something to her right now." And the screenshots don't show her responding, but it shows that he messages again at 11:21 and says, "I just shot my grandma in her head. I'm gonna go shoot up an elementary school right now." And his 66-year-old grandma was shot in the head, but she survived the shot and began to flee into the street. And in that time, he got into her pickup truck and sped off with the ammo and the 2 rifles that he had bought. Miss Luna said another neighbor spotted the grandma with blood on her face running across the street. So as that happened, the gunman crashed a truck at high speed next to the school roughly at 11:30 a.m. At this point, he approached the school and encountered an Uvalde school district officer. And there's a lot of conflicting reports of what happened here, which we'll get into a little bit in a second. But pretty much what happens from here is that one student inside the school sees him outside the window and alerts the teacher. And in that moment, they start to hear gunfire outside the windows. It seems like it's being aimed at the windows. And so they proceed to escape out the other side through the windows one by one. And they ran across the street to a funeral home, which is just
that's crazy,
disgustingly ironic.
I didn't know that.
The gunman entered the school, and 2 officers eventually showed up and were met with gunfire, and both of them were shot. Many more police arrived afterwards, while the gunman barricaded himself in one of the classrooms, which was in an adjoining classroom. And he shot 142 rounds during that time, and that it would take a tactical team and specialized border patrol agents to breach the room. 1 agent led with a shield while they breached, and 3 agents behind would fire several times as they killed the gunman after 1 p.m. And so that's the timeline of how everything kind of went down. And so in that big gap of time where the police are just showing up, that's where a lot of attention has been being brought up to, because a lot of people have kind of argued that the police could have done more.
They could have.
And it was reported that they were waiting just in the hallway for more than an hour, and that they were ordered by the commander at the scene to not rush into the classrooms regardless of the shooting that they could hear. On top of that, the director of the state police said himself it was the wrong decision, period. So even the police themselves have kind of acknowledged their situation.
We can't talk. If it was his kid in there, I wonder what he would have done, you know?
Yeah. And it's just kind of raised questions of kind of how prepared are the police for school shootings, because they supposedly do have trainings for this, but
how do you train a fucking kid to, you know, like I just don't think that the training is there. You know, I remember I seen these ridiculous videos of put a blanket over yourself, you know, like a bulletproof blanket, and just hope you don't get shot from under the blanket.
Oh, I'm talking about training on the police.
Oh, well, for kids, my bad. Okay.
That there's just kind of a question of like how effective is the training for the police for these sort of scenarios, because apparently they do get trained on this stuff, but clearly nothing really came of it. But I didn't get this in my notes because after I wrote this up, this came out afterwards. But something that was brought up afterwards is that there was attention brought to the gun makers. I don't know if you saw anything about that.
No, I know he bought the things online. No, or did he buy them in person?
He bought the rifles in person.
Okay.
But the gun makers, they're getting some fire because of this, because they've kind of had a history of doing some sort of questionable things.
The ad with the kid saying "rebel" or something like that,
and he's holding a gun.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the big like target that people are kind of like.
Yeah, that's a stupid ass ad. Like that's just kind of ridiculous, you know.
So it which I think just kind of speaks to like the perversion of advertising in a lot of ways. Yeah. So there's a lot of focus going on that. But like some other things that have been happening more on the political side of things is that after all this, some of the responses include Governor Kathy Hochul of New York said she would work to raise to 21 at a minimum the age for buying AR-15 style weapons.
Yeah.
In California, the state Senate advanced a bill along party lines proposed by Governor Gavin Newsom that would let private citizens sue those who make or sell outlawed ghost guns, ghost gun kits, and assault style weapons. And then Governor Greg Abbott held a news conference in Uvalde where his competitor for re-election, Beto O'Rourke, O'Rourke, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce his name, upended him and blamed him for the carnage. He said, "The time to stop the next shootings right now, and you are doing nothing."
Yeah.
And Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick responded, "Sit down, you're out of line and embarrassment."
Yeah, I seen that. This fucking dickhead.
And Governor Abbott later said, "I hate to say this, but there are more people who are shot every weekend in Chicago than there are in schools in Texas." And he continued to say, "People who think, well, maybe we just implement tougher gun laws, it's going to solve it," saying that Chicago and LA and New York disprove that thesis, which is just kind of an interesting thing of him to say. It's kind of a Martin Shkreli thing of him to say. I was curious, and I Googled what the age was to buy a gun in all these places. Chicago, you got to be, or in Illinois, you got to be 21.
Yeah.
LA, California, you got to be 21. New York, I think they have the hunting law, so you can have one at 18, but you need to be 21 to have a license.
Okay.
To have an official license.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of an interesting thing to bring up.
I was having a conversation yesterday about that with a friend of mine, Gabriel. He was like, "I'm not drunk," but he was drunk. And I even brought that up because he was asking me about the shooting, and you know, my friend Brian, our friend Brian, he told me never.
Not my friend.
He said never talk two things that are politics and religion, and I think that's one of the best advice I've ever gotten because it's true. Especially you never know where you are, or who's listening. I also got a good advice from the bartender. He was saying that I overheard a conversation, right? And then I was like, I don't mean to eavesdrop, but I heard what you just said. He was like, don't worry about it. You're never eavesdropping if it's at the bar, you know, because you're really kind of speaking aloud. You're kind of close by, not to eavesdrop purposefully, you know, but it kind of made sense to him. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But I even brought that up myself. He said, so what do you think about the shooting and this and that? I was like, of course it's sad. Of course it's this and that. But this is not to say my opinion on gun laws, but it's true. Like Chicago has the deadliest shootings almost every year, you know, and I do think that with how much emotion and like suffering we're giving towards this cause, we should be giving that to Chicago as well, and every kid who loses their life, you know. And if we were to mound up that energy, you know, it would maybe lead to more passionate ways to solve the problem. You know, this is not to deter everything and say no, guns should be available to everybody, or the laws here are better than the laws here, or vice versa. But I do think that is true, that we shouldn't just be having this true suffering when it's only one instance, like a school shooting, you know, because if you trace back at it, I mean, just look up every year and how much shooting Chicago has. It's ridiculous, man. I've said it before. I followed the newspaper page by mistake for Chicago, and every week, every day almost, it would just be like 3 black teens shot. This person was shot. This kid was shot, and just news about how it's just going up and up. And I think the same thing with New York City and every major city, even Philadelphia and all that. Again, this is not to say, and I really want to stress that this is not referring to my opinions on guns. It's just really referring to the idea that we're just kind of stale to this now. Where envision this, and I'll say this for sure. I forgot who it was that said this, but before Trump came into presidency, and I said this, so props to me. No, I'm kidding.
Quote yourself. As a wise man once said.
My opinion was when Trump was coming out and just doing all these crazy things, saying all these crazy things, is that he essentially normalized crazy, right? He would just, every week it was a ridiculous thing that it would come out of his mouth, that we would just be so accustomed to craziness being the norm. Now, when he did something extremely, crazy, it would just seem like a level up higher than what was already normally crazy, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to these shootings, we don't bat an eye to, this or that no more. Like, does anybody remember the Buffalo shooting last week? I'm sure they do, especially the people of Buffalo. But where's that news headlines? It's barely in the thing. I know it's there.
Yeah, I mean, it is there.
Yeah, but most of the things are this, And before that, what was the shooting before that?
I mean, you can say the California shooting.
Exactly. And then how about before that?
Before the California, our New York shooting.
Damn, you got good ass memory. Good ass memory. Well, again, regardless of that, it's just we don't need these spike ups of tragedy to make us pique our interest into what we think should or should not be applied to guns. It should be every instance, That's just my opinion on it. I don't know. I'm not trying to disregard these kids that lost their lives, because Sandy Hook was the worst, when it did happen relative to that time period. I just think that something just got to be done, and nothing is being done. It's just going to be a lot of banter back and forth, and in a month it'll just be old news.
Something that came to mind pretty intensely was Mr. Miracle, where they say apocalypse, on Apocalypse the word Holocaust is a household word, or household name, something like that. And that just really rung to me of just man. Like, man, you could just almost say like in America, like mass shooting is like a household name.
It really is, man. And it's fucking sad. Like, this is shit that's gotten me so like conflicted in my head that like I'm not even, and this is not for sure, but like maybe there should be a fucking somebody with a gun inside there, maybe teachers should have a gun so they can kill somebody walking in there, because if the cops are just gonna wait outside, and just stand there while kids get shot in the face. This I'll say, I'm not saying that for sure, like obviously that's an intense opinion, but there was a story of a little girl who covered herself in blood because that was happening inside the school. Mind you being an elementary school student, and your friends are dying, so you cover yourself in blood in hopes that you won't die. That's crazy, bro. That's fucking crazy. Yeah. And it's just more and more of that coming out.
I mean, the fact that they were also calling the police, the kids are calling the police from inside while the police were already there, technically. It's just, it's a really messy situation. Yeah. I really do hope something comes out of this at the end of the day. One can hope. Yeah. But
in Buffalo, the lady called the police and she was whispering. The police officer hung up on her. And that police officer or whatever is on like administrative leave or suspended. But how do you get hung up on the police just because you were whispering? She was like, you don't have to whisper. It's like, bitch, I don't want to die. Like, what are you saying to me right now? And then you get hung up on. That's crazy.
I mean, I've definitely seen a lot of varying opinions on the situation. Yeah. Like, I think something that was so ridiculous when this dude Beto O'Rourke interrupted Governor Abbott and stuff, that one of them said like, how dare you try and politicize this situation?
That's what everybody, those shitheads.
And it's just kind of like, what do you mean? It's like this is a political issue. Yeah. Like everyone's talking about gun law right now. It's pretty insane.
Ted Cruz was like, America's the safest place in the world, right? You fucking stupid ass douchebag. Like, what are you saying? How you say that after 21 people die in a school? How do you look at a camera and say, oh, this is the safest country in the world? You know why? Because you're taking money from people that are making you say that. You're a puppet. And you're also the person that left, Texas, when they had the huge snowstorm and his bitch ass went to Cancun. Like what an embarrassment of a politician. But just because they praise this agenda of America, freedom of speech, and guns, that's why they get reelected. And that's how dumb that process is of electing bum ass officials. You know, like you don't need to really have any agenda outside one that just funds your personal life. Then you just spew out whatever political stuff they want to hear.
Yeah,
and it's crazy.
It's really upsetting. It's just kind of you really get to see how little power we have in this so-called democracy at times, and it's just kind of a sick joke. It's kind of like, damn. I thought I had the power.
And imagine
we were the power.
And imagine if they're, again, not to be like that, but imagine those politicians' kids were in that building. Would that ever happen? Would that ever happen? And, you know, and then when it does happen, hopefully not, of course, you know, this and that to their children. If it does, because America says it will, right, to a politician's child, let's see what the response is then, you know? And that's the shittiest thing ever. Because then you just see the hypocrisy spew out, you know. And again, I'm not trying to hope for that for anybody and ever. But also, the police funding in Uvalde is 40%. Like 40% of the funding of Uvalde is police.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah, that I saw as an Instagram post, but I'm looking at here. It's on Bloomberg. Yeah, and it says why police funding makes up 40% of Uvalde's budget. That's why it gets me so tight that these bitches were just standing outside.
That's crazy.
That's fucking bullshit, man. I don't agree fully with the whole like defund and abolish the police because you need policemen and women, you know. But what the fuck, man? Like, you know, like you get all this money, almost half. Then you're just standing outside, and then you got to be like, "Whoops, we were wrong." Tell that to the parent of every fucking kid that lost their life. You know, it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous, and that's a lack of bravery and correct. You know.
Yeah, it's just a shitty situation all around. It's kind of like, you know, at the end of the day, we want someone to blame because we're human. And it's just there's so many people to point fingers at, honestly, and it's just that's why it's so messy. It's just kind of like it's like the John Wick poster where everyone's pointing the guns at John Wick.
He just has a pencil.
But this time it's just like a Mexican standoff where it's just like everyone's just like pointing at each other. It's just no one can decide who to blame.
It's like that, and then the person above is like, no, guns are they're not the problem here. Yeah. It's like, wait, no, maybe they are at this point. I just again, I'll let you continue right now, but I also just think that you can't solve this right now, you know, like only because those kids' lives are lost, and it isn't making it any better if it was adults. But when I can't stand looking at the pictures of the kids, just because like when you see those parents on TV just talking about it and holding the pictures of a frame of their child. I mean, it just upsets me now, man. It's just nobody should ever go through that. And I see news people interviewing parents and stuff. And sometimes I don't think that's correct. I feel the news should just stay the fuck away from parents, you know, because I also understand they want to tell their story, like the parents that have lost kids. But like I saw Anderson Cooper interviewing this guy who lost his daughter. And I was just like, get away from this guy. You know, he's crying. Like he lost his kids. Like maybe they're doing it just because you're there and they feel like they need to. But like, that's also like just fucking leeches right there.
That's media for you.
Disgusting leeches, bro. It's the worst, and it's horrible. I don't know what you feel about this. My bad, I'm chatting, but when they asked the reporter, the police person that was talking to the crowd, like they asked him to speak Spanish. Like, can you say anything in Spanish? Like, can you say anything in Spanish? And he just walked away. And I didn't think this was like maybe today or yesterday. But I envisioned this. It was like a police officer or a sheriff of Texas in that town speaking to the media and people. And after he was done, they were asking him, like the media, or like, can you say something in Spanish? Mind you, Uvalde is a predominantly Hispanic community. Mm-hmm. And they were saying, can you say something in Spanish or speak in Spanish or say anything in Spanish? And the officer walked away. And I saw somebody that I know post something. Her name's Camilla, I think. But she was saying that like most of the children of immigrant parents do the translating for them. So to have those people that don't know how to speak English, you know, we're just guessing here, to not have them being spoke to in their language, you know, is just kind of a spit in the face of them, because they would normally have the kids translate for them. What do you think about that? I don't really have a strong opinion on that, to be honest. I think there are more important things.
I mean, I guess they should have a translator at the least.
Yeah.
Like, or I don't know, like in the written report, have it in like some of it in Spanish or something like that. Or I don't know. I mean, that's definitely like not as like important as I would say is like any other like things revolving around this, but
I agree.
It's just, you know, the police can do better in Uvalde. Like
way better.
But I mean, I want to go down the victims. And I'm just gonna start it off. We have Might Yelena Rodriguez, Tess Mata, Miranda Gail Mathis, Alexandria Aria Rubio, Layla Salazar, Irma Garcia, who is one of the teachers, Jayla Sagaro, Jackie Cazares, Amarie Jo Garza, Eva Mireles, who is one of the teachers, Jose Flores, Xavier Lopez, Uzaya Garcia, Ali Garcia, Eliana Torres, Rogelio Torres, Nevea Elisa Bravo, Makena Lee Elrod, Jace Carmelo Lovemos, Alethea Ramirez, and Annabelle Guadalupe Rodriguez. And those are the people that we lost.
Yeah, and even the husband of one of the teachers that lost their lives
had a heart attack
like 2 days after. So that's another guy. Like, you know, add that to the murder of this guy. And it sucks, man. It sucks ass. That's and then the ages. Just to read down the list, 11 years old. There's 2 11-year-olds. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like about 10 year olds. 1 9-year-old. One. And then the teachers were 48 and 44. So this guy, I mean, he just murdered children. Like, you know, really like ridiculous, bro.
It's fucking sad shit, man. When I was putting this together, I was just getting sad like every other second. I was like, this is so hard to write about. Like I just kept stepping away every now and then because I was like, I need like a minute.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm looking at the pictures of the kids now, and I don't understand how you could do that to children. Like anybody, but just like I don't even want to imagine their faces as he was, you know, pointing a gun at them, or even the police officers that didn't do anything that had to walk in there. And
that could hear the gunfire and everything. They could probably hear the shouting and stuff too.
Imagine taking out the bodies, you know, and walking to the thing. This I heard. I didn't read, but I heard that all the parents that went to go see their kids also had to get swabs, like DNA swab or something.
Yes.
And that ICE was around there for some selfish fucking reason. It's ridiculous. It's so stupid. And 21 people. Oof.
Yeah, man. You know, there's nothing else to say.
Yeah.
That's if you didn't know the facts of that, if you didn't know the details of that, I hope that this taught you something. Because this is gonna go down in books. I feel like this is gonna be talked about for a while.
No doubt. Until it isn't, because the attention span of the people are there. I think so, honestly.
I don't know, man. It's as bad as Sandy Hook.
I know, but I haven't heard anybody bring Sandy Hook unless something else happens like Sandy Hook, you know? Like
I think it's always in people's, like, people, like, remember Sandy Hook.
For sure. Well, I just think also, in the sense of that, I want to see how many people will do something to change this if they're truly that passionate about it. You know, not to say that we will. I'm not saying that we're going to run for office and this and that, but I do think that it will come around again where we'll just have another politician stressing gun laws, you know, and not using, like, it'll just be one of those things that fade away in time. Because we are that type of culture. We're in the world of social media and TV and movies, you know. At the end of the day, we'll just be wearing those pins, and some of those pins will just end up in garbage, you know.
Well, and one can hope for one can hope. You know, like our intro song, A Bit of Hope.
A bit of hope. A bit of hope. That is the intro song, right?
Yeah.
We need to buy that fucking song. We're about to reach episode 100. He's going to be like, so where's my cash? Like, that shit free, bro.
He got his cash.
He did get his cash.
But, so I originally, I didn't even want to do a third news topic. I kind of just wanted to just shoot the shit after this and just really like have a fun episode. So originally, one of the topics I was going to bring up after the reading, but I'm just going to kind of mention it now, is I was like, you know what? Maybe we should just talk about Red Dead 2.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's like I finally beat it. We haven't really talked about it.
Yeah, man.
But, you know, dude, like, we can just talk about that for a little bit if you want.
Yeah, a game that we have to shoot people.
I mean,
I'm with it, though.
we don't have to.
No, I love that game. I remember the first time I played that game, Beatrice bought it for me, right? And so just getting started, when I played the first one, I fell in love with that shit, man. The first one was the best. I was obsessed with like skinning the animals, like, you know, shooting them, like trying to find different things, of course, and just riding around. I mean, it was just a great story too. But the second one took that shit to a whole new level. Like,
the
God,
second one is like the first one, like pushed to 11.
Steroids, man. It's the GTA of like, not country. What is it?
Western.
Western, yeah. I think it's 10 out of 10, that game. Is there a lot of glitches? I remember you posted like a glitch.
Oh yeah, I especially on PC, or at least my copy, because apparently like my cousin Jordan, like he played on PC and didn't really run into any issues, but I ran into issues like every now and then. It was pretty annoying. Like I think by the end of my play through, I ended at about 70 hours, but I would say that honestly about 4 hours of that is just lost to time that I had to restart the game because of a glitch or something.
That sucks ass.
So, you know, definitely took a small chunk of my playthrough time, but that game is so good.
Yeah, man.
Like every little bit of it just like has so many memorable conversations and stuff like that. Like the one when Arthur goes to Dutch by the end, and he tries to tell him that they should let John and I forget who else leave, and he tells him like, I insist, and Dutch goes, you insist? And it's like the tension, and it's like by that point I'm like, yo, fuck Dutch. Dutch is a piece of shit.
Yeah, man. But the voice acting is great too. The voice acting is phenomenal. I was gonna play it again, right? Because I saw you playing, and I was like, damn, we're gonna play this. And I checked my profile, bro. I beat like 90-something% of that game, like a high 90. Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck? Because I don't even remember doing that.
You must have done a lot of the hunting, and
bro.
shit.
A lot of the hunting, the berries, all that stuff, right? So I was there. I'm not sure if you can set up several games, like, you know, you have new game 1,
like
new game 2.
Save slot. I think you can,
because I was looking for it, and then it was saying that you have. It just involves some process where I thought I had to risk giving up my 98%. So I was like, fuck that. But I might just do it anyway when I have some time, or next COVID lockdown. I tried playing the new Fallout 4.
Oh, right? I thought you were going to say 76, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, right. I've heard bad things about that. And Fallout 4 isn't necessarily bad, but you legitimately need to have no life outside of like home. Like, you need to have no job, no nothing, to really like enjoy that game. And I was gonna do Fallout 3, but I didn't. I was like, let me just do Fallout 4, see how it's like. But it's not Fallout New Vegas, you know?
Some people consider New Vegas like probably the best.
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
People argue that or Fallout 3 is the best.
They say that a lot. I should have done Fallout 3 like a dick.
I played the shit out of Fallout 4. I never beat it though. I got to like the very end in terms of like the main story, and I just never finished it.
Okay.
Like, it got to a point to me where I had to make a really tough decision, and my indecisive ass just said, you know what? I'm gonna just not play the rest of this game.
Still the control of the TV. I'm going to the park.
I was like, you know what? Or I could do nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I just never beat the game.
Are you gonna control us? Nah.
There was these great animated videos by this dude on YouTube called Joel Haver.
Okay.
He has this, like, he does weekly shorts every week.
Nice.
But he does animated ones too. And he did this one series of like playing an RPG video game. And the last one of that like mini series is when you go back into a game after a long time. And it's just like you've 100%ed the game, and it's just there's nothing else to do, and you're just bored as fuck. And the NPCs are just repeating the same thing, and you're like, yep,
I did this. Man.
I gotta show you those videos. They're really good.
When I played Fallout New Vegas, I let the cannibal stay. I was like,
I mean, I never played New Vegas, so I don't know what you're getting at.
Spoilers, but so there's like there's civilizations and stuff that build within themselves, and there's some cannibals. They're really weird. So you would go to like a hotel in like Las Vegas, and you would be there, and they would host your like dinner and everything. And then at the end of the game, or like closer to the end of the game, you choose who lives and who doesn't, like who you wanted to prosper with. And I was like, these cannibals ain't hurting nobody. I mean, they are. But I'm like, maybe they got a lot of money to provide my civilization. So there's room for a little bit of evil.
You outsource them. Ooh, you're Apple.
Yeah, basically. Let's fucking go. Unionization. So Brian brought up this topic yesterday, and I want to bring it up to you just because it's kind of a throwback to our old episode when we covered Maus, Art Spiegelman. Mm-hmm. And we were having a conversation about Hitler, right? Those are the best conversations to have.
Top 10.
Top sure. 10. Top 9.
Oh. I see what you did there.
You see what I did there? Oh, man. No, let's clap it up.
Nah, we don't got to do that. I acknowledged it. That was enough. Well, lucky I acknowledged it.
Yeah, he was saying, when it comes to the situation of Hitler, who do you think was the fault? Who do you think is to blame there, right? Hitler himself, the government that allowed him to get voted in, or the people that voted him in? Like, if you were to place blame, the most blame on everybody.
Well, I think that kind of is similar to sort of the gun law situation where it's just everyone wants to point fingers. Yeah. But, I mean, you look at Russia and Ukraine, it's like, it's easy to say that this is Putin's fault. But again, the rest of the world is just kind of letting him do this. Yeah. So it's very similar to that as well. So it's just kind of, everyone wants to point fingers, but it's like, I don't think there's really much, like, there's not a singular person you can blame. I think it's just kind of, there are faults here and there, and that's just kind of the reality of it. Yeah. Like, no one is perfect in this. So it's just, everyone's fucking up. Everyone's done goof.
Everybody's done goof. I agree. I actually told them, I was saying it can't be the people's fault because I told them, like, what do dogs do in Mexico when they're hungry, when they're thirsty, right? They'll drink from any bowl of water that's there to be drinking from, right? But in Mexico, a lot of times they'll poison water bowls for dogs because there's a lot of dogs out there, like wild dogs. Damn. And then they'll just kill them, And I asked them, I was like that movie, like the Button movie, where it's like, you want $1 billion, push this button, but somebody has to die in the world. You ever heard about that movie?
I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like, imagine somebody bursted into your room with your family, right? And they were like, hey, I know you're starving. I know you're hungry. I know the world's in poverty and this and that. So we'll let you eat. We'll let you thrive even and come out on top. But somebody else has to suffer, And then, like, imagine what choice would you make in that time when you could see the bones of your kids because they're so hungry, right? And then I was thinking about, and I'm not saying one choice is right or wrong. I mean, I just think that ethics is thrown out the window in moments of true, severity. And then I thought about, like, Hitler himself and how, I'm not trying to say it's not his fault, because of course it is, but when you can rise to the top and work your way through crevices of politics, right, and be Hitler, who allowed you in? Like, who's opening the door, right? Like, yes, you're able to spew this message to people, all with the platform of government. So, again, I'm not trying to say Hitler is blameless, but I would say maybe it's the government's fault for allowing somebody to, rise up to that power. It's for there to be no true halt. But of course, I don't know the real details of that specific government of that time. But it's pretty much what you're saying. There's no, like, direct finger to point. It's just a circle of, like, you can blame this person, you can blame that person, you can blame this building, you can blame that. But there's no real. I just thought it was an interesting thing to bring up.
It's just a bad circle jerk, honestly.
Yeah, basically.
It's like, I'm more evil. No, I'm more evil.
9.
Okay, that one is good.
Slap it up.
All right.
I got a joke like that later. It doesn't involve the number 9 or the word 9, but you'll see.
Or the movie 9.
Oh, that's a good movie. I don't remember it. It just looks cool. You know what I mean? Yeah, it is okay.
It's ambitious.
I like that. It's perfect. Coraline Out Here is a good movie.
Oh, Coraline's amazing.
I gotta watch it. I've never seen it before.
I've watched that movie multiple times. Really? It's so good. It's Neil Gaiman.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I remember from, because when we were doing Sandman, that's what I looked up. Of course it'd be good if it's Neil Gaiman. I'm up to book 3 now, I think so.
Nice.
Yeah, bro, I love that fucking series, bro. It's so good.
We're gonna do some reading ourselves.
Nice.
So I send you a little file.
Got you. Oops, open Safari. Sponsored by Safari today.
Nah, fuck Safari. Microsoft Edge.
What? That's a browser?
Yeah.
Trash.
Uses less RAM than Google Chrome, bitch.
All right, let me go through my emails.
So this story is something that I had to write as a nonfiction piece for one of my classes back in college. It was originally titled the choice of Procrastination.
Okay.
And then I reworked it, and then I renamed it I Digress.
Okay. I'm opening it right now.
So to kind of just get into it, it starts off like this.
Mm.
What does one write for a nonfiction piece? I've been asking myself that question since I was given this assignment. I didn't know what I should possibly write about. I imagined I should probably write about a defining moment in my life. That makes sense. But I could never decide on one moment. I think of many different moments in my life, all things that I consider make me the person that I am today. But none of those moments feel like the definitive moment. Instead, I'm laying here in bed at 12:43 a.m., now technically the day this assignment is due, and I'm still wondering what to write about. I've always had this feeling that my story should be an extension of me, that my stories can show the world who I am. No, not in the sense of fame, not in the sense of, here I am, world. Instead, I want my stories to genuinely tell you who I am as a person, but I can't find the story right now. I don't know what to write about. I look over at my girlfriend who's sleeping beside me. She's so wonderful. As I write this, I'm using a 2-in-1 laptop that I bought from a startup company, and I regret it. I will mark every time I run into a hiccup with this laptop so you too can feel my pain, or at least try. Mark. I've been with my beautiful girlfriend for 3 years now, and I just love her. She's currently sick because I got her sick because I'm still getting over sickness. I digress. It's 1:01 a.m., and I still don't have a story. All I have are the thoughts and memories and feelings that I have for the time being. I'm sorry if you expected something different. This is all I have. First and foremost, out of all the things I want to talk about, comic books. My girlfriend sometimes talks in her sleep. She just said, that's wild.
That's wild.
Anyways, comic books. It's a way of life, a way to live by, and something to live for. Superman was created in the late 1930s during an era where Hitler still ruled, and it seemed there was nothing to stop this evil tyrant. Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster were two young immigrant Jewish boys who were tired of this man. Together, they created Superman, someone who could stop Hitler. As we know him today, Superman is a universal symbol for truth, justice, and the American way. However, if you look further, you'll find that a majority of the comic book industry from the 1940s to 50s consisted mostly of Jewish boys wishing for someone to rescue them. Stan Lee, Jewish. I would list other big names that are as mentionable as Stan Lee, but that would be pointless. I digress. The significance of the comic book industry being a success comes from the hopes and fears of all the Jewish boys that needed it the most. I would say comic books are for the outsiders, but then again, comic books are for anyone. They're for anyone that has ever felt alone or scared or helpless or lost, or in need of some escape, some rescue. People might forget what it means to be a superhero, but it's never the powers. Now, it might seem like an obvious Disney answer in hindsight, but powers don't make the hero. Choice makes the hero. To put in better context, imagine if Superman landed in Russia instead of America. Don't fret, you don't have to. You can read a storyline by Mark Miller who wrote Kick-Ass and Wanted called Superman Red Sun, where it explores just that. Mark. But the point is, if Superman landed in Russia, he would be the same man that we already know. Same ideals, same mentality, same power. He still fights for his country, he still holds back his punches, and he still fights for truth and justice. The only difference is he has a hammer and sickle on his chest. Mark. I think about the moment when I decided I want to start writing comic books. I had always enjoyed writing and making up stories and characters, but it was something I never took seriously. My mind was always set towards working in the tech industry. I wanted to be a computer engineer for whatever reason. Actually, it wasn't for whatever reason. My immigrant family had fought their way to this country with nothing to their names. They wanted the best for me, but that also meant being the best for them, and being the best meant having the highest paying job. This way I could never have to struggle as they have struggled. My cousins and I were led at an early age to become lawyers, doctors, and tech giants. It was the only way I would be happy. Scratch that. It was the only way they would be happy. I digress. This is my second year at New York Comic Con, and I was much more prepared. Last year, I was not prepared with any of the comics that I should have brought to get signed. So now, I was hell-bent to pack accordingly for the 3 out of 4 days I went. In my endeavor to get my prize reading signed, I brought my Volume 1 of the 2011 Marvel Now run of Deadpool. I had it planned to have the writer and the original creators of the characters sign it for me, making it the most valuable thing I own. Out of the 3 signatures I was seeking, I sought Fabian Nicieza first. He is the Steve Wozniak, the duo creation behind the character of Deadpool. To elaborate, Wozniak was the true brains behind Steve Jobs and was quickly left behind in the dust. Comparatively, Nicieza co-created Deadpool with legendary creator Rob Liefeld. While Liefeld was praised for years, so much so he has a cameo in the Deadpool film, Nicieza never quite reached that stardom. At least he had a highway sign named after him in said film. I digress. There is quite the line for him, because at least the comic book community will still always value him as an equal creator of the character. Reaching closer and closer, I found that each signature would cost $5, and I found that I only had $20 for the day. Finally, I'm next in line. As I'm about to go about my introduction, which I rehearsed in my head, another author comes to his booth to greet him. And this is clearly a moment that people of this industry do not get to have enough of. My girlfriend is questioning me in her sleep and tossing about now with gibberish. I've lost her. After this other author and Fabian and Chetzi are done briefly catching up about each other's works, and this author's new novel and the process behind it, he apologizes to me and introduces himself. I tell him it is no problem because I found the conversation quite interesting, as I like to write myself. He responds with care and asks, "What have I written so far?" What have I written so far? What have I written? I don't know. I begin to baffle my words and I explain how I actually have not completed any works. "I'm gonna stop you right there," Nechetsia said. I was confused and struck by his bluntness, and I shut my mouth before he could continue. And when he does, he looks me in the eyes and tells me if I'm serious about writing, this is what I need to do. I would go over it in deep detail and say exactly what he said to me, but I think I'll keep this one a secret. I digress. Fabian Nechetsia gives me his advice. He signs my volume 1 of Deadpool personally and doesn't charge me for the signature. Walking away from the booth, I took a moment to myself and laughed out loud and shed a tear. I fight the same tear now as I write this. The idea of becoming a writer was not welcomed in my household. My family wanted me to go to school to work with computers because that's where the future was headed and it seemed the best course of action for family. It's where I would make the most money. When I decided to switch majors, I was fought with much disapproval. All my family members were shocked and could not stop racking their heads at this choice of mine. Was this yet another action of rebellion against them? Or was I simply making a stupid decision? I digress. It's 2:08 a.m. and my knees are hurting from sitting crisscross for so long. I think of when I was growing up, and when anyone would ask what superhero would I want to be, I would always say Spider-Man. The thought of swinging through New York City at such heights and speeds always excited me. However, now that I'm older, the reason why Spider-Man is my favorite superhero has changed. I believe Peter Parker would still be the Spider-Man even if Uncle Ben had not passed away, versus Bruce Wayne, who I believe would not be Batman if his parents lived. I say this because as much as I love Batman, my second favorite superhero, I believe the choice to be Batman is a selfish one. This is all up for debate, but I see Peter Parker as more of a hero than Bruce Wayne. Peter Parker does good for the sake of good, whereas Bruce Wayne does good to prevent that night from happening again. There's a lesson to be learned there. I'm exhausted of this remaining stigma against comic books. Even with the rise of superhero movies, reading a comic book in current academia is like reading a children's book. Yes, it's a comic book. Yes, people still read comic books. Yes, the art is mature. Yes, the language is more complex. I believe many people have this notion that comic books are still written as they were when they were first popularized. Comic books are no longer drawn out pages of introducing characters like a game of Who's Who. Comic books no longer rely on onomatopoeias filling the page to cheat a shorter script. Comic books are no longer the fears of young men hiding from the war. Now, comic books can be about the fears of any individual. God Country, a comic about an elderly man who's the only one that can wield a godly sword being hunted by forging gods of the universe past, is truly a comic about death, family, and the fear of loss. Arkham Asylum, home to all of Batman's villains, is actually a simple metaphor for evil. Watchmen, a comic about costume vigilantes during the Vietnam War, is about that war and the impact of it on America, mixed with political commentary on the politics of then, mixed with social commentary on the status quo then, mixed with tackling themes such as mental illness, ego, rape, greed, and more, all in a comic book. I digress. It's 2:38 a.m., and I believe I need a mental breather. It's 3:08 a.m. I took the time to glance at Instagram and watch a YouTube video on the Samsung announcements of their new 2019 lineup. I accidentally woke up my girlfriend and I ended up getting us a water refill. I think about the choices that people make every day. I think about my father, who I love, who ultimately caused a divorce that destroyed my life, Mark. I think about that final night my father stayed with me and my mom, how he laid on the couch, staring into oblivion with the many million thoughts of what he would do next, and me, standing at the edge of the hall, barely creeping into the room, holding on to one of my stuffed animals or pillows. And my dad catching my sight, telling me, "Go to sleep, Javi, I love you." My head hurts. I think about the choice that was laid ahead of me, the choice to do better, to be better than what this divorce wanted me to be. Sometimes I feel like I take my parents' divorce more intensely than others. I could be wrong. Growing up with my mom, I was led to believe that I deserved the kind of lives these other kids did on Nickelodeon sitcoms. I fought for that kind of life. In middle school, I went to school in Manhattan and found how a majority of my friends had that Nickelodeon lifestyle I craved. And I felt more at home at friends than my own home.
I could never understand how so many of my friends were this fortunate. At some point in life, I thought, it's because they're white, obviously. But now I think about the cracks in my rose-tinted memories. One friend never actually knowing their father, another whose parents were so busy he never saw them, and another whose mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. And they're all white. I'm not entirely sure how any of them are today. I'm not good at keeping up with people, but I hope they're doing well and that life isn't being too harsh to them. I think about the choices they all had. I think about all the asshole, shithead, fuckwad, dickhead motherfuckers who make the choices they make. I think about my old boss. He was a huge fucking asshole. I think about the stories of him making people cry, pushing them to quit the day of, and even getting physical with certain employees. I worked in their food truck but had to work in their brick and mortar cafe once. All those locations carried different menus, which meant I had done a lot of piggybacking and questioning in order to keep up. I had to prepare a certain dish which I had never made. I asked someone how the dish should be prepared, and I followed their instructions perfectly. 10 minutes after it was sent out, my boss came into the kitchen questioning who prepared said dish. I tell him I made it, and he then responded by yelling at me for preparing it incorrectly. This is my reputation on the line. You're not here to make me look bad. He hadn't even brought the dish back, as I could see the customer was gladly eating it without concern. But I nodded and said okay, all the while the other employees kept their heads down, even though it was them who instructed me as such. Thanks, guys. I think about what his 2 children might possibly go through. I try to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I think about the choices he's had. I think about the choices given to him by the important people in his life and the choices they probably made. I don't think my old boss made the right choice. Now he's a raging asshole that no one can get along with, let alone his wife. These are the things that I think to about myself. I can't be bothered with the latest Kardashian scandal. Instead, I need to understand why my old boss is such a fucking dick. Sometimes people are surprised by what little I know of mainstream culture. Sometimes I'm surprised by how many people know about mainstream culture. My brother, some years ago, was getting bullied at school for reading a comic book. Only nerds read comic books. I couldn't believe it. Kids are still recycling the same bully tactics from decades ago. The difference is, these bullies love all the superhero movies and never miss a single one of them. Thus raises a question. What the fuck? Why can't there be such thing as individuality? Why are all the dickhead bullies and bosses seemingly staring us to follow the mainstream and abandon any choice we might have had? Never mind, why does reading a comic book make you a nerd? Better question is, why is being a nerd a bad thing? I'll never understand. I digress. It's 4:17 a.m. and the clock is starting to beat me. I think about Peter Parker. I think about the nerd from Queens with straight A's and is a school photographer. I also think about what he does outside of school, the lives he saves, the danger he repels, the hope he spreads, the security he ensures. Yet he will constantly be bullied and be stepped on and be overlooked and do it willingly. He has the choice to stop all of that. He has that choice. I think about punk rock, and I think about how perfect comic books and punk rock go together, like mac and cheese. I've been listening to punk for as long as I've been reading comics. I convinced my dad to buy me a guitar at the end of my freshman year of high school. We bought it without permission from my mom, and suffice to say, she was furious. To her, me picking up the guitar would be a waste of time, and that I wouldn't continue through with it. I did. I've come a long way from taking a week to learn a song to learning and recording a song within days. I think about how I was invited to a secret Spotify show for my most inspirational band, Blink-182. How never having the opportunity to have gone see them as a band broke up through time, and even after reuniting, more drama would only continue to follow. Anyways, being invited for free to see my favorite band for the first time was nothing less than inspirational. I think about going to see Rise Against, another free show that I was fortunate to be invited to. The band had been signed for over a year now, and they finally had this new album being released. Tim McIlrath, lead singer, took a moment to speak about where this new album of theirs is coming from. They were hiding, unmotivated, and scared to do something new. Eventually, they found the choice to say no to hiding. You don't walk away with your tail between your legs. You become the wolf. Punk rock is constantly underappreciated by the mainstream, but people will still sing along to every word of All the Small Things by Blink-182. Some people find punk rock to just be headbanging noise. It's just a bunch of whiny dudes on guitars. What's funny is that they're right, but can't see the beauty in it. Punk rock, or to be broader, punk, has always been the culmination of making a choice. For the most part, that choice is something that carries a heavy burden. Being punk is not an act of rebellion for the sake of rebellion. Being punk is a choice to question the world around you and to make your own decisions. Usually that decision is to simply be yourself, and only yourself. You don't need to be a punk rocker to make this choice. Even small choices like quitting that shitty job of yours can be considered punk act. Leaving your small hometown in search of something bigger is a punk act. Being a writer instead of what your family wanted is a punk act. I believe the followers of punk rock wear their scars like military ribbons. There shouldn't be any shame in the choices you make. At a concert, there's a real sense of unity knowing that there are millions of others who feel just like you. The sweat, blood, and tears in a mosh pit exemplify that we are all one group with a million different personalities. All the pent-up anger, angst, sadness, frustration, and pain are all free as each person wears it like a shirt. This is me. You got a problem with that? No? Well, all right. At a concert, I can be myself with no consequence. I would say there's no judgment in the realms where I dive, but that wouldn't be true. We're still human, and we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I think about how much I fight for individuality, but then I think about how many times I go against that and judge someone simply because I don't like them. I'm not perfect. Practicing your own practice is like forgetting who you are. I wish I could say that if you attempted at entering the world of comics or punk rock, you would be treated with constant respect and constant understanding. But this is the real world. Yes, you still have sexists who believe comics are for men. Yes, you have punk rockers who think that they know music better than Beethoven. It's not perfect, but nothing is. I think about that last night my father stayed with us. I think to now. It's 5:07 a.m. and all I've done is talk about the things I like, the things I think to myself. I look over at my girlfriend who is sound asleep. I wish I could be asleep right now, holding her, loving her. I digress. I think about the nerd from Queens and how I let myself get yelled at, stepped on, and pushed around willingly. I think about the choice I have. I think about Peter Parker. He had a choice and it led him down a path that would make it so he would never allow himself to make that choice again. I think about Peter Parker more than I do Spider-Man, because the real hero is Peter, not Spider-Man. Spider-Man is just a mask. I think about Stan Lee. I think about how I'll never hear him tell me that I, too, am a living, breathing superhero. I think about his message. I think about the refuge comic books have given me. I think about the combined refuge from my comics and music, and I rub the water out of my eyes. It's 5:23 a.m., and all I can think about is the choice I have, and I can either keep fighting for the Nickelodeon life I deserve, or I can accept my life and move on. This is my choice, my life, my story. Now it's time to stop procrastinating and write this story. The end.
Yeah, that was... that was, I had to cough the whole time. That was really fucking good, man. Like, I really, really enjoyed that. Jesus Christ. That's really nice. I took some notes too, just bring us a couple things to talk about. But first of all, if you have things in your head that you want people to hear or you just want written, do it. Because I thought that was really great. I love how you ended it. Not to just be so simple about it, but I like how you say, like, this is my life, this is my, this and that. And now I gotta start procrastinating, right? Like, while doing that, you just took what was going on and made it, a perfect piece of writing. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I had this planned in my head before I wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember telling Anna, I was like, I'm just going to stay up really late to write this paper. And she's like, why? I was like, because I can feel it.
Because America.
I was just like, it's going to hit me. I know it's going to hit me. And it's just, I'm going to write this fucking paper in one night.
Yeah, man. I think that was really awesome. I think there's a beauty to writing and there's like a intimateness to it. Right? Is that a word, intimateness?
I think so.
I hope so. And I think that it's really amazing what you said. I want to refer to the beginning where you talk about like, I love how when you go back to like the history of comic books, like when you brought up the 1930s and comics being created, the characters being created by Jewish men and stuff like that. Like, I never knew that ever. And I'm pretty sure anybody that hears this will learn a bunch of like 10 to 15 new things there. You kind of say history without meaning to say it. Like your topic is more so just you, but that stuff is interesting. I remember even back then when we did Mask NYC, I remember you telling me about like, how can I say, you meeting certain people that created wrote for Batman and stuff like that, and how your brother got bullied for comics. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, who still, like you're writing, like, who the fuck bullies people for that? That's ridiculous. But I also wanted to bring up, like, so just yesterday, I was at Domino's with Beatrice. We were downstairs.
Nice.
And usually we just go downstairs across the street and just smoke like a joint or whatever, and then watch a movie afterwards.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man, that's the best. And I put on Kick-Ass, which is hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah, I just put on Kick-Ass. We didn't get to do the whole movie because we were smoking outside. Just watching the beginning and when he jumps off the roof and smashes to the car.
Yeah.
And while I was in Utah, I stayed up late. And I was watching the other guys. So too much people jumping on roofs. I was like, because that's when The Rock and somebody else, they just jump off the roof.
I don't remember the other guys too well.
It's so dumb. It's fucking, they're like getting chased, but they're the police. And they're like, there's no way out. And The Rock, there's like really cocky police officers. And he looks at his partner. He's like, look, you see down there? They're like on a 40-story building. He's like, let's just jump. He's like, what? And he's like, let's just do it. Don't worry, we'll find a way. And then so they just jump to their deaths. And, yeah, the police chief was like, they were honorable heroes. Crazy shit that they did. Did they think they were gonna survive? Anyway, so I'm thinking about just watching that, and then I also want to refer to how I watched a little bit of the Hulk with this guy from American History X.
Edward Norton.
Yeah, I was working on something, or maybe just playing like Pokemon, the new Pokemon game. Fire. Nice. Amazing. And I just put it on the background, right? I just put it on the background, and I'm like, I heard this movie was not too good. I think I asked you about it. You were like, or whatever. Like, it was ass. I don't like the movie.
Okay.
Because there was one he was like, don't make me hungry. You won't like it when I'm hungry. Like, as a joke. And I was like, but I just think about just him wanting to change a lot of the script and this and that, and how he bled. A little piece of his blood fell down into the bottles, and he went to go check, and he cleaned up a bottle that had blood on it, but then there was a huge blood splat on the left side. Just little things like that. And I was like, this movie is not that great. It was putting me in a bad mood also. But then the reason I'm like going on this list is because it's what writing makes you think of, right? And just the fact that you said Kick-Ass, and I watched Kick-Ass yesterday a little bit, and that's really cool, like universe type shit, Yeah. And then I also wanted to bring up, like for me, like when I'm home and I have like a pen, like bud and stuff like that, like I'll smoke. But sometimes when I smoke, I'll get a little too anxious. I'll get a little too like in my mind, paranoid, and this and that. And I definitely found that reading comic books helps that. Reading in general helps that. But like I've been reading One Piece lately, right? Okay. So I'll pick up, like one time I was high and I was like, oh my God, like bro, like everything at once, like the movie. And so I just started reading it, and it just immediately goes away. Like I just get to like focus. I mean, that's anything. Like I can put anything I like on, and it'll just help the bad thoughts stay away type shit. But reading the One Piece, it's the best thing for me because, or any comic like Sandman. I mean, Mr. Miracle. I have so much comic books in my house now; it's ridiculous. You feel me? Like it's amazing, and I'm grateful for it. Like I've even started reading the Second Court of Owls. So I bought a copy and shit like that.
Oh, nice.
The City of Owls, right? Something like that. I'm reading that. That's a little harder to read. A little harder to read than the first one. So
there's like some stuff that kind of happens in between of like other series that because it kind of becomes like a crossover. So it's a little like difficult to read.
I was reading on the plane and I was like, this is a lot. So I'm gonna just read it over, but slowly. I felt like I was going too fast. But I do appreciate that aspect of comic books because you do have to just divert your eyes, and it helps me manage my high with silence. Like instead of putting on a podcast or like a video or something like that. Being able to read a comic, like enjoy entertainment, like true story and all that, and like kind of help your brain out too. Reading is beneficial for yourself as well. That's why I like what you said, that comic books aren't just for kids or just for men, this and that. Like if you there's a Shakespeare. This is the next thing I want to bring up. There's a Shakespeare story in Sandman, the third one, and that is one of the most complicated things I've ever read, man. Like in a comic book. Not that it was like hard to follow because he gives you very good like characters that explain the story regardless, but. I mean, I almost stopped reading Sandman completely because I was like, this is difficult as fuck. I was like, but I noticed that I wasn't reading it for a long time. So I was like, no, like I'm going to get through the story tonight. And I got through the whole story, and it was dope. It wasn't my favorite because of the complexity of it, but it was something to appreciate, and also probably something very difficult for him to do, or maybe something he enjoyed, like Shakespeare in itself. And yeah, I would say that I have to read it like 5 times over. And like, when it's, that Shakespeare book when you can read and then it gives you
like the read along type of thing. Yeah.
No Fear Shakespeare.
Yeah, No Fear Shakespeare.
So I mean that was really cool, but then I think about my boss in Flushing, Mainstream Queens, like how he used to be really rough on everybody. Like I remember like I would work 40 hours and my whole job was just to clean. Like 40 hours the whole week scheduled, and from 8-hour shifts, and all I would do is what as customer support. But it was more so just stay outside of making drinks and stay outside of the main position of working, like cashier, and just sweep the store for 8 hours. Like it was torture. And me and many other workers would walk into that store, do that same thing, and just be so angry. Like we would just hate him, But eventually I got the hang of the job, started doing the job within like cashier register. I mean, it was still straining all around. But me and most people that have worked with this guy have said this is like the best boss I've ever had. Because he taught you a real work ethic, because it was hard to work over there in Flushing Main Street in the Starbucks, Okay. And it's a little different from your own manager with the waffles and stuff like that. But I still think that, yes, we may be appreciative of it now, but it's still some dickhead shit to do in the past. You know, like to hurt people's feelings and like make them upset. Like our friend Jonathan was visibly upset one day. Like he was just pissed. And he never gets like that at our workplace. Like he walked in all happy and shit like that. So, you know, it's all about that. And then I don't know, I forget why I bring this up, but there's a picture of a person, a video of a person on a train, New York City, of course. And there's some guy walking, pacing back and forth. Just one of those guys on the train. You're like, what the fuck is this guy gonna do? Like, am I gonna be? And he basically is kicking the windows and punching everything. And he sits down next to a lady, and he grabs her hair. Doesn't pull or nothing, but he grabs her hair, and she's just, you know, morbidly in like fear. Like her face is just pale, and she's just like, what the fuck is happening? And he just like kind of tells her to stand up, and they go stand to the side. Man, he's holding her like a rabbit. You would hold a rabbit by his back, you know, or a puppy. And she's just, and then he's just holding her like, you know, whatever, and then sits her back down and then walks away. And she says help, and nobody helps her. It's not like it's an empty train.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, bro. And so I also say like how you write. This is might be my like top favorite line, but my top favorite line, but there's a lot that I liked in there. I like how you say, sometimes people are surprised by what little I know of mainstream culture. Sometimes I'm surprised by how many people know about mainstream culture. I very, very much enjoy that line because it's true. If the Kardashians were in politics, we'd be the most invested politic, you know, country ever.
Yeah.
You know, like if somebody with a fat ass with a sex tape starts reading the Declaration of Independence, motherfuckers gonna know the Declaration
Come on,
of Independence.
Kathy Hochul.
Goes doing squats. And then the last thing is that, and again, I forget because there's a lot of writing, but I'm quitting my job recently. You know, how, man, like you said, sometimes the most punk rock you think you could do is quit your job and stuff like that, you know? And I'll tell you this, man, like having quit and just be to myself. And again, now I wake up at like 3 a.m, 4 a.m, and now I have to deal with dumbass dickheads who don't know how to respect, you know, people who are serving your food and stuff like that. Not that there weren't a lot of great people, but yeah, my quality of happiness has definitely risen, you know, and it's not to blame that or the people that work there or, you know, but I definitely, unless there's a good opening to work it, I do not want to ever work for like a big company ever again. You know, like I definitely want to work at local restaurants, this and that. Of course, I might take a job or two, you know, in that situation. Where you at? Like, oh, got you. But just you saying that is true. Like to me, I'm just happy I'm not there no more. You know, and it's just, you know, shout out to the Wendy's people that got killed by that you know, that guy and everything. You know, just I don't want to spend my last day there. You know, or grow any older. Not that I have already. At a place where I have to like, no disrespect to anybody, like put on an apron and this and that and serve a frappuccino and all that shit. Like I've done it for too long. So, and the reason I decided to like respond this way is because that's how much writing can inspire. You feel me? Like when you read something, especially because of you, because hearing that is a very, like you said, a lot of really crucial stuff in there, you know, talking about divorce and your life and what's going, all that stuff. I think is truly important. Yeah, I just think it's very, very well written, and I hope you got like an A or something at the paper or something like that.
I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
You definitely deserve that.
Yeah. I figured like I said in the beginning of the episode, let y'all motherfuckers get to know me a little more.
It's really good.
Because you know, I feel like it's really difficult for me to sort of get my thoughts out into words. Like because sometimes it'll just be so much going on at once that. Writing this was kind of one of those rare opportunities where I got to really just sort of have like a mind explosion and just go off and just leave it at that. But like I said, I did re-edit it because I originally titled it The Choice of Procrastination, and I changed a good amount of it actually.
Okay.
Like I restructured it a good bit, but I still tried to keep it as true to the original edit of it. But yeah, it was. It's definitely one of my prouder works.
Yeah, man, I see why. I just like it, and again, I still think what you do very well is you kind of slip comic book history in your how you speak or how you write, and I think that's such a underrated thing. You know, with not that many people reading comic books or this and that, which a lot of people do. I'm not, you know, but I'm just saying, like, even for me, before I met you, I've never even touched a comic book and read the whole thing, and then continue with the series and stuff. You know. Yeah, it's dope. I think the history of comic books is important and relevant. And yeah, I've been trying to watch Watchmen recently. So I'm gonna check that out soon. I just every time I've watched it in the past, I've fallen asleep or like, what is so long? And there's a director's cut, I think so, right?
Yeah, I've watched the director's cut.
It's longer, right?
It's longer.
Yeah.
I think it's like 4 hours.
Yeah, bro. It's a long fucking movie.
Lucas and I just got fucking fried as shit one night and just fucking watched a director's cut. It's definitely not like worth it because like the big difference between them is that in the original comic, there's the whole story is split up by these little segments where you're following a comic book about a pirate. And like this pirate's just crazy adventure pretty much. And that comic is just kind of up for interpretation. Yeah. That since it's alongside Watchmen. So the director's cut includes the story of the pirate in animated form. So the movie will cut to like an animation of like the pirate stuff. And it's just so jarring. And it's just like, it just doesn't like mesh well. It doesn't blend well.
Like a follow along almost, right? With what's going on with the comic book and the story.
No, so like the whole pirates like story or beeline pretty much in the comic is told in animated form that's split up throughout the Watchmen movie.
Gotcha.
So it's just kind of inserted in, and so it'll switch between like live action, like the main film, and then it'll cut to like the pirate stuff and showing what's going on in the pirate comic. In animation. What about in the comic book? Does it do that in the comic book or no? You see what happens in the pirate story throughout the comic. Like it'll cut to the pirate story every now and then, and you're just kind of reading this pirate story pretty much. And like I said, that stuff is completely up for interpretation. Yeah, but it's just it doesn't translate well live action. Yeah, I will not watch the director's cut. Yeah, especially not on the first watch. All right, cool. So I'm gonna watch I'm gonna try to read the things too, which you also said is long, right? It's a thick read. Yeah, it's 12 issues like Mr. Miracle, and every issue has like a few pages at the end of like some extra story content. Yeah. So they're all like each like almost 30 pages each issue. So it's a thick read. There was something that happened either in the news or something. There was a lot of tragic news that I was reading. Beatrice in the trip, she was like, well, stop reading me tragic news. I was like, I can't, bro. Or my matter. But a lot of stuff I've been related to Mr. Miracle as well. I forgot what it was in the news, but it had to do something with somebody with a rough childhood, like with this and that. And I was like, look, like this guy with like the mom and the dad and the good mother and stuff like that, and how he was tortured his whole life and PTSD for it. And I mean, that read is so great. And even then, like you said in your writing, how that I don't think necessarily that, and I don't know if you agree that this is not the easiest read for somebody reading a comic book for the first time. Like you read that, you're like, what? Like what the fuck is all this? You know, and not that it's intensely difficult, but there's a lot of brain work when you're reading that story, and a lot of tragedy. Like when you got so much topics in there that are really harsh, and it's a story. I mean, if it was written just in text, it wouldn't be as good because you want to see those visuals. You want to see the real colors of it, the real tragedy on the face, the babe, the lump of a baby, you know, just the potato, yeah, and Big Barda, or even like when Big Barda and Mr. Miracle hug. And it's just that height difference and stuff like that. It just makes it more like adorable. You know what I mean? It's it's a really great read. So yeah, bro. I mean, I thank you for the comic books, man. Like that's the best thing about everything here. That's what I do. Thank you, bro. Thank you. And then you should find a way to like spread that to people that are younger or people that are interested in stuff, because it don't matter how old you are. You know, like it's just I'm doing it right now, motherfucker. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Yeah, that ass. That ass. Scratch that. Put a scratching noise. Scratch. But nah, really well written, man. Really well written. Keep fucking writing. Never stop, man, because that shit is incredible. Wow. But yeah, I wanted to do that. You know, lighten up the mood a little bit. I think. God. I think we succeeded in doing so. And so the third topic is kind of a shorter topic, so it's something too crazy or anything like that. But I'll just read off the sort of headline for you. It's that PlayStation got drawn into the abortion debate. So interesting. So. To just dive into it. Sorry, can I make the joke? Like they're beginning, you have a baby, and it says, "Do you want to continue?" Bruh. That's pretty funny. Bruh, that's what it says on the pregnancy test. Yeah. It just like 10, 9. Like fuck, man, kill this baby. Or there's a video of a mom holding a baby, and she's like, "You see this baby right here?" Like she's talking to the baby, like looking at her and like rocking her. And she's like, I could have killed you
She's like, I could have killed you, but I didn't. I let you live. And then she looks at the camera. She's like, because I had a choice. I'm like, what the fuck?
Damn, that's intense. Oh my God.
I saw that on the way here in the cab. I was like, bro, like that baby PTSD out the mind. It's like, how do you say that, you know, to like a killer? I get it, pro-life, do your thing, Roe versus Wade, live your life. But damn, bro, like you didn't make a point. You're just a weirdo.
That's intense.
I'll show you the video afterwards and the supplementary because that's fucking funny. And she was being serious, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, crazy bitch.
So, to dive into it, the president and CEO, Jim Ryan, he sent out an email to employees urging them to respect differences of opinion on abortion rights. And pretty much what this email consisted of is that they were saying that PlayStation is multifaceted and diverse, holding many different points of view. We owe it to each other and to PlayStation's million of users to respect differences of opinion among everyone in our internal and external communities. Respect does not equal agreement, but it is fundamental to who we are as a company and as a valued global brand. And the email continued because then Jim Ryan started segueing a little bit.
Jim Ryan is the CEO of PlayStation?
Yes.
Okay.
And he started segueing a little bit and he started saying, we'd like to share something lighthearted to help inspire everyone to be mindful of having balance that can help ease the stress of uncertain world events. And he talked about his two cats' first birthday and elaborated over the next few paragraphs about his cat's birthday cakes, their noises, and his desire to one day get a dog.
The fuck? What the fuck? He's like, yeah, I know you're concerned about babies and death, but listen to my kitty meow meows. They're so. That's what I imagine the article is. Yeah. And then they have religion. It just look in the mirror. The whole PlayStation Network's like, we do video games. That's ridiculous, bro.
So. To say the least, people like employees were upset.
Yeah, bro, what the fuck?
PlayStation employees at several studios expressed their displeasure at the tone of the email. One of them said, "Never been so mad about a cat birthday before," which I just thought was pretty funny. But a pretty big studio from PlayStation that has spoken up has been Insomniac Games.
Okay, they make good games. I know they make good games.
They've made Ratchet and Clank, and very recently they made the Spider-Man game.
Okay,
and
nice.
So, what they did is
what they should be making is more PlayStation so motherfuckers can buy one. God damn.
That too.
These motherfuckers don't want to do shit. I heard there's a chip thing going on where it's
a chip shortage,
right? So it's hard. It's even harder to buy a PlayStation 4 at the moment, right?
Everything's on shortage, man.
Interesting.
There's just not enough anymore. Not enough resources.
I keep up with the times.
But so. What Insomniac did is that they sent a 60-page dossier to Sony. And in that document, they demanded leadership do better by employees who are directly affected, and they even singled out Jim Ryan in this statement of theirs. In the document as well, they listed that they were donating $50,000 to the Women's Reproductive Rights Assistance Project, or WRRAP. And interestingly enough, Sony is going to match the donation, and on top of that, Sony has said that they've made plans to formulate an initiative to provide financial assistance to employees who might have to travel to different states to receive reproductive care.
Okay.
So on one hand, they're like, we're not really going to talk about it. Respect everyone's differences.
But we're going to be biased to one side.
But we do kind of support it, I guess, but we're just not going to say that we support it.
Yeah.
So it's a little weird.
Very, very like Disney-ish, but not really. You know how Disney was like, no, we're going to advocate and this and that. But that's just weird, man. That's a weird move altogether.
And so what was also found out after this document was posted is that Insomniac employees were forbidden from explicitly mentioning Insomniac or Sony should they decide to retweet any announcements from the WRRAP that they might have made.
Okay.
And they said in a quote, there would be material repercussions for us as a wholly owned subsidiary if they did sort of break this like agreement or whatever. They also continued in saying any progress we might make in helping change Sony's approach would be stopped dead in its tracks. We'd also probably be severely restricted from doing important public-facing work in the future. So, Insomniac, they kind of spoke out, but not really, since they sent a document directly to Sony. It's just the fact that that document became public, that everyone knows that Insomniac did it.
Yeah.
But so it really just raises the question again of people are wondering if Sony's going to make a statement at all about this. Since they kind of did, they're really like stepping their toes in it, and really like they let themselves get dragged into it.
Yeah, that's ultimately what it is.
But what's interesting enough is that Bungie made a statement, and the reason why that's interesting is that they recently just got bought by Sony for $3.6 billion.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So. And what they said is that standing up for reproductive choice and liberty is not a difficult decision to make, and Bungie remains dedicated to upholding these values. And so a lot of people were really happy that Bungie like made a statement, and they're really up for this and whatnot.
And at the end, they were like, "And buy Halo, motherfuckers." They don't do Bungie. They don't do Halo no more. Right? God damn.
That's wait for 3.
Buy Halo 3 or 2 or whatever.
They did Halos 1 through 3.
Okay, buy Halo 3. That'd be funny as shit if they do that in that.
That would be. I mean, they do Destiny.
Destiny.
So,
that's like a newer one or some shit like that, right?
Destiny 1 and 2. You know what Destiny is?
I know what it is, but just the title. I don't know what it is. Like playing on.
That's crazy.
I know, right?
Wow, I feel like such a big game.
It is. Not to me though.
It's just kind of like an MMO RPG shooter.
I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about, but I never played it, not once.
I feel like if you see footage of it, you'd be like, "Oh, this game."
Okay, cool, nice.
Because it's a pretty big game. But anyways, one YouTuber, Skill Up, they tweeted, "It's going to really suck if Sony puts a muzzle on Bungie in the future and stops them from doing actual hero shit like this." And in response, one Bungie employee said, "I'm confident in the following. We are and will continue to be Bungie. There will never be a muzzle big enough to stop us from standing up for what's right." And the Bungie CEO, Pete Parsons, responded to that tweet just saying yes.
Nice. That's good. That's really good.
So that's kind of the topic. That's kind of the story in general. Like I said, it's kind of a shorter one.
Yeah.
Really difficult to find some news out there this week. But yeah, it's fucking weird of Sony to be doing this in the first place, and it's like the fact that they got dragged into the abortion.
The cat shit is the dumbest shit. that's the weirdest.
It's so tone deaf. Yeah. It's just like, why did you think anyone would give a shit about your cats, man?
So it's like the school. Imagine the school shooting. Somebody goes and like, "Yo, I know this is a tragedy. I know this is bad, but my dog just had puppies."
He's so cute with the little faces.
And he's just playing with it, and the whole crowd just jaw drop like, and he's like, "And this was named Scratchy." and it goes back to like, I think I prefer if big companies again would stay out of anything. In a way, not really, because everybody has an opinion, right? But if you're gonna have a stance, like stick with that stance, like Disney did that, and they're doing their own thing, and they're firm on it. But if Sony's gonna do that, or Sony or PlayStation, which one was it?
I mean, they're the same
thing, right? I don't think you should hide it like they're doing, saying that, "Oh, we think both sides are," as long as you're having a discussion, and then you fund abortion and stuff like that. Like, I think you should just be firm with it, because clearly you prefer and advocate for one side, because it just seems a little shady doing it otherwise, and
I just feel like, what's the harm in saying that?
Exactly.
That you're like in support of this, because you're already kind of saying it. So it's like, what's the harm in just saying, "Yeah, we're in support of this"? It's like it's like they're trying to not upset anybody.
Yeah, but they're upsetting everybody at the same time. I'm sure there's a certain word for that. Like, I forget what it is.
Dumbassery.
Pretty much. I don't know. I just think these big companies are just doing themselves dirty. I think they should have these opinions and very strongly, and just keep it within the company, and let the people that work there talk for them. Like, fuck these. I know they probably have to, because stock or whatever, but I just think they should just keep their voices, like their big voices, out of it, and just talk about it within the company, and let other people, I don't know.
Yo, man, I saw this meme that someone posted on my story where
it was companies in June, and it was like
yeah.
video game companies, like fictional video game companies like Abstergo and Umbrella, all like rainbow colored.
Yeah, and then when June ends, nothing. Yeah, they did that shit with Black History Month and all that stuff too. It's pretty fucking hilarious. It's the truth. It's the truth. I mean, it is a way to profit, you know. That's pretty funny. Companies are just they're just fake. But PlayStation is coming out with VR very soon, right? And
their
Apple.
second VR headset, PlayStation VR 2.
And I heard there's gonna be a lot of games for PlayStation VR, like more than most other.
They're
companies.
gonna have they said a minimum of 20 games at launch for the PSVR 2, which is pretty good.
Yeah. And
the specs for it look pretty good too.
Yeah.
It looks like it's gonna be a pretty nice headset.
There's gonna be a lot of changes to VR. And I don't know if you saw what I posted in the social. I hope you did, with the whole like the person saying that they got to prevent murder in VR. So I was listening a little bit of that, right? And then let's talk about this if you don't mind. I mean, we're doing a podcast, so I'll help you. But
I'm just
so there's a place where the person said they got sexually assaulted on VR. And there's things like VR chat, which are more specific in terms of avatar, like your whole body is showing your legs, and they have like sexual features, you know, gender, whatever you think. And then they showed the one where she got molested, and it was just kind of like where it was just like a head. There's no torso, like it's just
like a me.
Yeah, a me. There we go. And it was just like a body, and then like not even arms, just kind of like like little circles. And that's where the person got sexually assaulted, and she felt like it was unsafe. There are features in virtual reality where you can have like a boundary thing. So you can have somebody like 4 feet away from you and not let them come any closer to you and stuff. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah, maybe particularly in that
like
game,
in VR chat or something.
But it's gonna end up being a thing, right? And then I was just confused about the murder stuff. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
You know, honestly, I kind of wanted to bring it up as a topic for this episode, where it crossed my mind of sort of bringing up the dangers of VR, just because you know, it's happening a lot, especially in VR chat, where just recently Lucas had his friends over and let them play my VR, and one of them went in VR chat, and they like saw some girl that had like an anime body or whatever, and like was like, oh, like pretty mama, come talk to me, this and that, whatever, trying to be all funny, whatever, and then the girl was like, I'm 14, and they were like, oh god,
yeah, everybody's like, ah,
so it's just like, my stance on like VR chat and just sort of social VR is just that it's like the Wild West right now.
It's the internet.
It's
still the internet, you know? Like, that's ultimately what it is.
It's like there needs to be better parental control. But then at the end of the day, there also needs to be the willingness from these parents to have like to go out of their way to use these features. Because it goes both ways on that end. But I agree. It's just it's really scary out there, especially for children. Kids can load up their fucking Quest 2 and go into a strip club in VR chat.
Yeah, man. And I get more worried when it comes to the sensors coming out, where you can like feel like other people's touch and stuff like that. That's when I think it's gonna get real fucking bad. I think it's gonna get real bad with like, especially pedophilia, like you're saying right now, because I think at one point it's just gonna be like, again, I this is just like I think of the worst when I can, like just because my brain is disgusting sometimes, but I just genuinely think there's gonna be like, play this game, and like, you know, when you're running in the Wii and you have to like go like this, like if you can't see, like you're waving your arms up and down, and then you're doing that, and then you're jerking off some weird guy in fucking Texas, you know, with the VR headset. Like, that's just some Black Mirror shit that I think is gonna be happening. But yeah, I even with these social media, like the parental controls are kind of dumb. Like, they're not really there, because sometimes the parent will just hand them the kids their phone. You know, when it's like, you're not gonna parental control the parent's phone. And actually, I saw recently that California is suing social media platforms, or parents are suing social media platforms, because they're saying that these social this social media, like Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, is deterring the growth of like children mentally. Like, how it's becoming such a distraction, and how it not only is it that, but it's also advertised to them, you know? So therefore, because of that, they're more into it. And then the tics that we talked about before, how kids and even teens are developing tics because of TikTok and stuff like that, which is kind of hilarious when you think about. It's true. I mean, it's really fucking weird. Also, man, you play a video like with those soundtracks, like what is that shit where it goes, oh no, you know that shit, and it's just like who isn't hearing that like every fucking day of their lives, you know? And so, like, what do you think when you hear that song, right? You think, oh, something bad's about to happen, you know? And it's just a weird directory for the mind to go, like a trigger. Right, not that pussy shit that people get triggered over, like a literal trigger. Like, wait, hold on, what's happening? You know, I don't know, man. It's a weird world, and VR is kind of irrelevant, but I'm sure as hell they're gonna be a VR social media. Like, can you imagine that?
I mean, VR chat is already VR social media. Right, like you can be whoever you want to be on VR
That's
chat.
True.
Like literally, you can be whoever the fuck you want to be.
You're not wrong. Yeah, bro. The hat I'm wearing is because I watch a YouTuber, and he's also the guy from Joe Rogan, the Brian Redman, who does his own thing. But he's where I get my VR news from, like all the time. Like he talks about it every single time. And this guy, like his avatar is Wendy's with like big tits, like the Wendy's logo and shit like that. Wendy's is for sale, by the way. I don't know if you saw that too. Yeah, a whole bunch of news while I was in Utah. I was like, they're selling, I think either the franchise or something like that. But his avatar is that. But me looking into it, I just think about Xbox chat beforehand, where you just heard the N-word everywhere, you know, and just terrible things and just. I mean, you also have some of the best conversations of your life, though. I think so. Like Xbox Live was one of the funniest things in the world, bro. And I don't know. I think parental controls is a weak form of helping. I think there needs to be something much more interesting.
Well, I think definitely what's kind of good is sort of having like, especially now that we have like the metaverse and things like that, is having sort of like a metaverse for kids, like Roblox having their own metaverse. I think that's good because it's like, like kids play Roblox, like keep it to the kids and whatever. Like ideally, like adults aren't going to be going in to play Roblox and whatever. Yeah. So,
but there was like the people who Al Qaeda and stuff like that, people who like in ISIS and stuff, and even the Mexican cartel. The way they would recruit people is by playing those games. And then the way they would communicate to one another is through the chats in those games. So that's the interesting part where it gets to it. Like, you're right. You would think that mostly just kids are there. But, no, I mean, now there's like more monitoring for like the chats and everything. But when I found that out, that's just scary to hear. You know, like imagine like you're just letting a kid play and some guy from the cartel is like, hey, bro, like you want to join our group? You know, like we do a lot of things here and this and that. Like where you live, like in Mexico, like, hey, would you like to come, like, meet up with us one day and this and that? But you can't tell your parents. You can't tell your parents because if you do, you're not allowed in the group no more. Just weird shit like that. And just the terrorists that do that shit too. That's just. I think eventually there's a random thought for like VR. They'll make you put in like your social security, like you'll be a registered user.
Ooh.
That's when it gets really crazy. But I think that's the only way you can monitor who's who. I mean, honestly, like it's kind of already is like that with Facebook. Yeah, like because with the Meta Quest, you can only use that with a Facebook account logged in. Wow.
So it's like
it's interesting.
Facebook knows all the fucking games you play and all the people you hang out with on VR and whatever. They know everything about you.
Mark, was it Zuckerberg?
Yeah.
It's the goat right there.
Fucking robot looking ass.
The legend himself.
Lacking eyebrows.
That motherfucker can speak Chinese, right?
I wouldn't be surprised. But guess what?
What's up?
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I give a fuck, Mark Zuckerberg. So if you want to come to the podcast, if you want to start a podcast with me, Mark and Frank.
Good luck with that, man. Honestly, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. He comes in right now. Nah, he's probably watching us right now, to be honest. She's probably listening to us too.
I mean, I don't got Facebook installed on my phone. Do you?
No, but I have a Facebook account though.
I mean, I think we're good as long as we don't have the app installed.
Shit. Well, I'm not that interesting anyway. so fuck it. But yeah, I mean,
hey, Frankie, don't talk about yourself like that, man.
Appreciate that.
I actually find you somewhat interesting.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for leaving a podcast. I don't know. Social media gonna get weird in the future, but VR I think is a cool thing regardless. Do you think there'll be virtual reality abortions in the future?
Virtual reality? What?
Okay, like to phrase it better, do you think that this could go both ways, those against and those for, but they'll have like a lady that wants an abortion, to put on a headset and walk her through the procedure of getting an abortion? On A, it could either be to like calm her down to how the procedure goes, or B, it could be like you're killing your baby. You want to see how your baby dies, like But they probably do that for like medical procedures already. You know what I'm trying to say? Like surgery and all that stuff.
I don't know why they would do that for abortion.
Prep.
I do know that like they do use VR to sort of deal with sort of like fears and stuff, like people that have phobias.
Have you ever tried it with rats, like mice?
No, I haven't.
You think that would ruin it for you if there was a bunch of rats and shit like that?
I don't know, man. I don't want to think about that.
I know I probably said this before, but I saw like the new Suicide Squad. Bro, there's a lot of fucking mice and rats in that fucking.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's a great movie, man. That's such a good fucking movie. Oh my god. I seen that shit twice back to back days. Like that's how good that shit is, man.
It's a good movie, man. Yeah. Brian just recently saw that movie and he was like, "Oh, now I know why you were saying the first one is shit." I'm like, "Yeah, man."
Yeah, the first one is ass. Remember me and him went to the theaters and we saw it, we were like, "Yo, pretty good." It's all right. And Will Smith and the shit. None of the characters from the first one were in the second one, right? Only Harley Quinn.
Well, Captain Boomerang, Rick Flag.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's it.
Oh yeah, they were in it, right? They were like kind of in the base headquarters or something like that.
Well, Captain Boomerang is one of the people that dies in the beginning of the movie.
Rick Flag dies too, or no?
He dies like later on. Peacemaker, like.
Oh yeah. There we go. John Cena killed that role.
You should watch the Peacemaker show if you like the Suicide Squad movie.
I completely forgot there was a show.
Yeah, it's actually really good. It's made by James Gunn again, so like he has like he has like full control of it. So it's really good. It's more of the Suicide Squad, but just over 10 episodes,
That's
or I think
cool
8 episodes actually.
Nice,
but it's pretty fucking solid.
I'll check that shit out on Hulu, all right, or Amazon.
HBO,
whatever. All right, man.
But that's been the news topics.
Yeah, man.
It's time to get into the AMC section.
Woo.
Well, in the time that we were gone,
yeah, man,
Link has taken my seat. Like the son of a bitch colonizer that he is.
And he's white. Don't make it any better.
It's just, I can't with this kid.
For those who don't know, Link is his Javi's dog, not a human.
No,
being.
he's my son.
Yeah, you're right. Pop and mom.
He looks like the spitting image of his father.
Basically.
Just white.
That's like the Colonel from KFC.
But we are here. We've made it to the end of the episode.
Yes, sir.
Not the end, but the last part of the show.
And what are we going to be talking about today, Javi?
So on the AMC section today, we're on movies, and we're doing something a little special.
Yeah, man.
And this kind of comes...
Whoa. COVID? Monkeypox?
Whoa.
Diabetes?
But this comes at a good time, actually, because there's a video game that had just came out around this. But we are talking about Evil Dead. And not just the first one, but the second one.
Hey.
So we did a little double feature. So it's a little exciting. And I think you understand after watching both movies why I wanted you to watch both of them.
I'm actually having them playing right now as we speak. Not to like volume or anything, but... Oh man, and I'll say this: the first one is bigger in terms of block than the second one. That's what I'll say.
Okay. Yeah. So to just kind of like get into some little facts and whatever, Evil Dead 1 came out in 1981.
Yep.
It had a budget of $375,000, and with inflation, today that is $1.1 million,
which is nothing, right?
Which is like nothing.
Yeah.
And for its box office, it made $2.4 million in the U.S.
Wow,
and,
that's a lot of
due to
money.
inflation, can be counted as $7.3 million.
Wow.
And then for worldwide, the numbers are a little sketchy,
askew,
because it says either it made anywhere between 2.7 million to 29.4 million, and
that's a big fucking margin right there. What the hell?
Yeah. So
maybe they're combining both movies. I don't know.
I mean, I have the numbers for the second one, so I don't know. It's like,
I mean, you're wrong, so stop talking to me. That's what you said to me.
Frankie, shut the fuck up. I got this.
Live your life.
But so I would just say take like the worldwide budget with a grain of salt.
With a grain of salt. We'll do whatever that means.
But with inflation, those numbers would translate to 8.2 million to 90.1 million worldwide today.
Okay.
Which at the end of the day is still not like a ton of money.
Yeah.
But the fact of just its low budget making that much money, that much of a profit is just really, really good for it. And so the second one came out in 1987. So there's a 6-year gap between those movies. And something that actually happened between both of those movies is that they made another movie, Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi. Because I haven't said yet, but Sam Raimi is a director of both of these films.
Yes, also for Doctor Strange, right?
For Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I have a new admiration for the zombie feature of Doctor Strange now. Yeah, man, it's awesome.
And,
it's awesome.
He's also done the Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
He's also done countless other films, but the film that he did in between Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 was called Crime Wave, and it came out in 1985. It wasn't really received well or didn't do well either in theaters. But since Evil Dead 1 was such a success, they were able to give Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell studio money to really actually make a full length movie.
Okay.
Because originally Evil Dead started off as a short film called Within the Woods. That was 32 minutes.
Okay.
And it's a super condensed version of Evil Dead, pretty much.
Yeah.
They originally wanted to call it the Book of Evil, I think, or the Book of Dead, one of those two. But they eventually went with Evil Dead, and it took about 2 years to film this movie. Sam Raimi has considered it one of the most difficult things that he's ever done in his entire life.
Wow.
It was a trek to get this movie ever done because Sam Raimi was only 20 years old when he made Evil Dead.
That's so
Bruce Campbell
awesome.
Was 21.
That's so fucking cool, man. The fucking ambition, to create is so dope. That's so impressive, man. I even having this play in front of me right now, like, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Like, imagine, like, pretty much like Lucas right now fucking making his own fucking film that gets put in theaters and everything.
Jesus Christ. Wow.
But yeah, so like I said, it was adapted from that short film, and that movie is considered pretty much a cult classic.
Yeah.
This movie basically started the whole cabin in the woods trope. If it weren't for Evil Dead, we wouldn't have the Cabin in the Woods movie or any other movie that copies that, anything like that.
I don't know if you've seen it yet, but that movie X with Kid Cudi in it.
I haven't seen it yet.
Immediately, like first 10 minutes of this movie, I thought to myself that movie X was great. I really, really admired it, but I thought of it already, like not even watching the whole thing, that X is just the many babies of what this movie is. Like there would be absolutely no movie of X if this didn't exist. Like almost like I want you to see it so you can like really see.
Yeah.
But I'm happy I saw X first because there's no way. I don't know, man. That's how good this movie is. The Evil Dead is. It's so crazy for 1980s also.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. But something that I wanted to also throw in is that the second Evil Dead gave Sam Raimi his opportunity to make his first superhero movie called Darkman, which came out in 1990.
Okay.
And again, it was kind of Sam Raimi's first superhero movie. It was kind of his resume at that point, where if it weren't for this movie, he probably would not have been able to do Spider-Man.
Was it based off a comic book, Darkman?
No, it was original.
This is a random question. You know Hancock, but with Will Smith, was that based off a comic book?
No,
that was just like let's just create somebody, right?
Yeah,
interesting.
So, Sam Raimi just did that, and from the success of that movie, Sam Raimi went back and did Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness.
I didn't know the third one.
There's a third one.
The fuck?
So with the way that the second one ends, the third one continues right off of that.
Okay, nice.
So it's
interesting.
It's called Army of Darkness. Came out in 1992. That movie had a budget of $11 million.
Jeez.
So you can see. Oh wait, did I tell you the budget numbers of Evil Dead 2?
No, tell me again.
So the budget for Evil Dead 2 was $3.5 million.
So it's increasing every time, right? They're like, yo, these shits are crazy fire.
Yes,
we want more of this crazy hot fire, please, Sam Raimi.
And so, with inflation, that's $8.5 million today, and in its box office, it made 5.9 million US, and then 10.9 million worldwide. With inflation, that's 14.4 million US and 26.9 worldwide. So, they just keep getting better and better. And by the time that the third one comes out, they had a budget of 11 million. With inflation, that was 21.8 million today.
Okay.
I didn't get the box office numbers for that one. I should have. But
how dare you?
I know. But pretty much Army of Darkness is considered one of the more mainstream of the trilogy.
Yeah.
Just because it is like it's more action adventure at the end of the day. Because as you can see, there's a difference between Evil Dead 1 and 2 in terms of tone, where Evil Dead 1 is more of a horror. Evil Dead 2 is more of a horror comedy.
Yeah, I noticed that when I watched the second one, I saw comedy up there. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, am I seeing some shit incorrectly? But nah, there's some funny moments in there and anything.
Yeah. And so Army of Darkness is considered more like comedy action.
Okay.
And so there's not a lot of blood in Army of Darkness. They fight like skeletons and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So but
did you like Army of Darkness?
I like it.
Okay.
I would say I like it just a little less than the first one.
Gotcha.
Like it's not like a bad movie or anything. It's just it's kind of like the odd one out in a sense. So I feel like you either love it or you don't.
Yeah.
So I mean I think it's good.
Okay.
But I definitely wanted to focus on the first two just because the first two were kind of like the staples of the trilogy.
Yeah.
And just really speak to Sam Raimi's ability as a filmmaker. But those are kind of like some of the opening facts that I got about it. Like I mentioned, they were 20 and 21 when they made this movie, and Bruce Campbell has done a lot of things where he's talked a lot about the making of this movie and stuff like that. So he has a whole book about being a B-list celebrity. That's supposed to be a pretty good read.
Okay.
So there's a lot of information to learn more about these movies and stuff and get the behind the scenes stuff. But it was honestly kind of a little confusing watching both of these movies in the same day, like I did.
Yeah, I did as well today too. Honestly speaking, that's why it took some time.
And like it makes it a little confusing almost to like watch the both of them because like since they both kind of play out similarly, they're still different.
Yeah. And
so trying to remember like specific beats gets like a little confusing for me where I'm like, wait, did this happen in the first one or the second one? But it was my first time watching it in over 5 years, I'd say.
Right.
So it's been a while since I've seen them. And I mean, to just kind of get into it with the first one, it, like I mentioned, it started the trope of the cabin in the woods thing.
Yeah.
And it opens up with Ash and his group of friends going off to this cabin in the woods with really funny acting.
Yeah, man. It's the acting is so, I don't know how to say it. Like it's so purposely throwback horror, like and then and like cheesily, like Scotty is the douchebag, like I got a girlfriend, but he's also like the leader of everybody. But I'll just start saying I think this movie is absolutely perfect. Like from beginning to end, like I give it a 10 out of 10. And just now, even with the opening shot, like everything is beautiful, and like even the acting is just so funny, but it's not. Like it's just so weird at how I can't get it. But this director Sam Raimi killed this, bro. And I think he's blessed to have shot it in this time period, because if the cameras were better and it was more HD and stuff, like it would just lose its essence. Like it's so. Like the film is grainy, you know what I'm trying to say? But I love it. I loved everything about the first one. Everything about the first. It's nice. So incredible. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I fell in love with the first one when I watched it the first time too. Bro. And I mentioned it on the podcast before, but that one scene of the fucking pencil getting
and it just goes into the thing,
the ankle.
Oh my god, bro!
Fucking disgusting. Man.
Yeah, man.
But I mean. The movie plays out as you would kind of expect. It's very straightforward. They fucking go to this cabin in the woods. There's already sketchy shit happening. The camera work is amazing.
Phenomenal. Everything about everything, bro. Seriously, I'm telling you, like it made me my first time watching it, but like it's just a perfect movie. Like it's that stride in time where somebody was put on the earth to make something perfect, bro. It's irreplicable.
Some people really do consider like the Evil Dead to be one of those once in a lifetime generation things.
Seriously, I wish I could have seen it in theater when it came out. Obviously, I was not even a thought. But it's even like, bro, I'm addicted to seeing it right now, and there's no volume. Like the clothes, the hair, just the shots, what they chose. Apparently, the cabin they used was actually technically haunted or whatever. Like I have some fun facts right here and everything.
Nice.
But from what I'm seeing with these fun facts that I just pulled up randomly, it seems like he was a very daring director. Like he wasn't somebody to hold back, you know?
Yeah.
And he was young.
He really got his hands dirty with the work. Just a fun fact, I forget the exact word in the credits, but they're considered like schleps or something like that.
Skeps. Yeah, I have it right here actually. It is Shemp. Fake Shemp.
Yeah, that Sam Raimi and I think it's his brother, Ted Raimi, and Bruce Campbell.
Ted and Ivan, I think. Yeah, it's Ted Raimi, Ivan Raimi. They were the Shemps.
Yeah, and those are basically the people that would do the shots where you would just see hands and stuff, or like the shadow of hands.
Nice. So
and
there was
things
like, ding,
that.
You know, like,
yeah. So because since it took about 2 years to make this movie, they were running low on money on their budget and stuff like that, so they couldn't keep all the actors there for the whole time. So at some point, they just had to finish the movie all on their own.
Yeah.
And so that's why a lot of the shots will just be of hands like breaking through and things like that.
Man,
and whatever.
I say they got lucky because of it, because even though like there was one shot where I'm watching it, like you know when you're watching a movie by yourself and you're like kind of stale faced, like you know you're not, so the camera can see it, but I'm watching it and the hand came out, right? It was like dang, and I was like like just like that. Like I know if you're listening you can't see, but it's just me like nonchalantly like, oh that shit was crazy. And like literally like that. Like, and just to define it, because I looked it up on Google only because of the credits. I saw the names and I was like, wait, Raimi. And it says a fake Shemp is a type of body double who appears in a film as a replacement for another actor or person, usually when the original actor has died or is unable or unwilling to reprise the role. So maybe it might have been kind of that. The budget thing, it says right here that they had to stop filming multiple times because they had to raise money for the movie, which is crazy.
They got local funding for it and everything.
That's amazing. But I would have gave him $100.
So
wow.
Yeah, I mean, the movie kind of plays out where by the time they get to the cabin, one of them, I believe, it was Cheryl.
Cheryl, yeah.
Bugging
though, she's bugging. Let's tell the people. Sorry, let's tell the people why she was bugging.
She starts like being the first one, kind of getting haunted because she's drawing, and then like she starts freaking out or whatever. Like something takes control of her hand, and she basically draws the Book of the Dead, which is also called the Necronomicon.
So dope.
And fucking she's just kind of like, what the fuck, and says nothing about it.
Yeah. Facts. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Look at that happen. She's like, anyway. And then we have dinner or some shit, and now they're in the cellar. And
and then they have dinner, and then the fucking cellar just swings open, and they're like, yo, what the fuck is down there? And so Scotty goes down, and he's down there for a while.
Yeah, they find the gun and shit.
And Ash goes down to follow him and whatever, and then that's when they find like the Necronomicon, like this dagger and like a tape recorder. They fucking bring it upstairs. They listen to it. They find that the people that were staying there before were studying this book. And because of the tape recording playing what this guy is saying, the chant from the translation of the Necronomicon happens and inadvertently raises the dead, pretty much.
And the book is made of human flesh and written by a human on blood.
Yep.
So dope. So I love everything about it, bro.
And like the front of the book is a face.
Yeah, man. I'm looking at it right now. Right now they're literally at that scene where they get to the basement and they're looking at the shit. The little like shank with the skull at the top and everything. And again, they're just being like ridiculously young age men. Like, you know, like he points the gun at his friend. They're like, ha ha ha, you know, like, yeah, Brad, like, but it's so perfect, man. Like I can't describe it. Like, people would kill to have this type of acting today, but there's no way it doesn't come across as like a reference or an homage, you know? Like, I feel like this is what he was trying. I don't know what he was trying to do exactly. It's just amazing. I fell in love with the acting. There's not to ruin X too much, and it's not at all, but there's one thing that they got perfect, right? And it was a scream by one of the female roles, right?
Okay.
And it was just such, and I don't know that much horror history and cinema. I just appreciate it a lot, right? And it was perfect because something scary happened, and it was just this close up, like this swerving close up, and instead of being like a immediate you could see her face cower, kind of like her face was loading, and it was like a and then when she screamed, it was like such an on point horror, like will stick for the rest. It's like the in Star Wars where like they're all falling, where they do it in every movie, or like my leg, you know, it's so perfect. And I feel like it was kind of done here, but not as intensely. It's just There was a lot of screaming in this movie. The shit, you know.
Oh yeah.
So they find the book of dead. They play the recording. They raise the dead.
Yeah.
And now shit's going down.
And fucking Cheryl gets like lured by the demon entity from outside.
She went to the woods by herself. This bum. I was like, what the fuck is she doing? You know, God.
And again with the camera work, it's just so great because the camera acts like the demon entity itself, so it just swings around like through the trees. I found out that the way that they did that is that they
attached it to a monkey.
They attached it to a 2x4, and so they would just kind of the cameraman would just hold a 2x4 and just kind of like pivot it like side to side and just fucking basically run. And
think about funding. When you think about funding, that's exactly what that is. The lack thereof, right? Like, gotta get creative, man. You don't have a dollar, you make one. You know, you don't got this and that, get one. You know,
and the way that they were able to use the camera to break into the windows and stuff is that they just attached a piece of wood that would stick out underneath the camera that wasn't visible, so that way the stick would just break the window. And that way it would look like the entity is what broke in.
So dope.
And so, Cheryl gets lured outside by the entity. And I had completely forgotten this scene happened, like when I saw it last. But she gets raped.
Yeah, straight up she gets raped and everything. And there's not a lot of nudity in this film. I was surprised that because I was wondering why they always involve nudity with horror. I wonder what the correlation is in the brain, or maybe a vulnerability you feel, this and that. But she definitely does get
adrenaline.
Raped. Yeah, she definitely does get raped. She gets like twined up with her arms by the wood and the vines of the trees and stuff, and it like rips off her shirt and just just this and that. And yeah, that must be crazy. She was definitely impacted by that though. She was like, "You got to get me out of here."
Yeah, she fucking books it back, and it's that really tense moment where she gets to the door and she can't open it and no one's opening it, and the entity's getting closer and she's reaching up above the door to try and grab the keys,
and then she's looking for the keys.
One of the key is stuck inside the doorway, so she's trying to yank it off, and the entity's just getting closer, and she finally gets the keys out, and she's trying to get the right key, and and then boom, to open the door and something like that. I don't know, man. It's so classic, and it works so well.
Yeah, everything is perfect about this movie.
And she gets back inside, and she starts freaking out. She's like, "Ash, you got to get me out of here." I love that she calls him Ashley.
Yeah, I didn't know his name was gonna be Ashley. That's hilarious to me. Not like in a bad way. I knew somebody named Cheyenne, this guy, but I was like, Ashley. I thought she was saying actually. Oh, no.
But it's something that I also noted is that Cheryl is also Ash's sister.
That does get mentioned.
It gets referred that like she's his sister, and so it's like that sucks.
Yeah,
that's really shitty.
They were very subtle about names and like relations here. I think because for a while I was like, who's who, and I think you only get the names of Cheryl, Ash, Scotty, and then
Linda. I think her name is
something like that. But it wasn't like they were introduced or anything. This movie kind of just
throws you in.
Yeah, there's no real base,
But yeah, they fucking they're inside, and fucking Ash is about to take Cheryl out of there.
Yeah,
they drive out and they find that the bridge that they came on is destroyed.
Yeah,
and
that sucks ass.
Yeah,
so they have to go back. And before that happens, like, there's a little scene I'm seeing right now where Ash is giving his girlfriend a necklace, right? The thing, and I love it. Picture this if you're listening. If you haven't seen the movie, please do. As she's looking at the box, he's pretending to sleep, and so every time she looks at she takes the box out of his hand like a jewelry box, and every time she's looking at the jewelry box, he opens his eyes, right? So like, how can I say it? It's as if
the camera just is a close up on their eyes, and it just goes back and forth.
And then when she looks back at him, he closes his eyes very suddenly, and that's very major for what happens later on in the film, which we'll talk about in a bit. But just keep an eye on that, keep an ear on that if you're listening. I hope you are. That every time she looks at the box, he's looking at her. And every time she looks at him, he closes his eyes. It's supposed to be like a cute moment, but what was done later on is ridiculous, bro. It's ridiculous.
But
so the road is closed off.
Even with that necklace, actually, another fun fact is that Sam Raimi chose out that necklace, and Bruce Campbell thought it was like the dumbest and ugliest looking thing ever.
It's pretty ugly.
And he was just like, "This is so ugly," and this and that. And Sam just had this idea that he in his head for what was going to happen in the movie is that he was going to use a magnifying glass to use the sun to burn the book.
Oh man, that would have made a lot of sense, to be honest with you.
But yeah, it just didn't work out that way.
They just kept the necklace.
And so yeah, they just kept the ugly necklace.
That's funny.
But yeah, they get to the bridge. It's broken off. There's a little moment where Ash steps out and Cheryl and he get a little cut off, and it seems like the entity is about to chase him and whatever. But they're good.
They're chilling.
They get back to the cabin, and by the time they're in there, that's when shit starts to go down. Like from this point, like this is like where the movie like just fucking goes down the deep end.
Yeah,
because we come back to the entity just kind of floating around outside the cabin and stuff, and it fucking just finally breaks into one of the rooms. Or no, I'm sorry, I'm skipping something. The what happens?
So Cheryl tries to leave, and mind you, I want to say something real quick. I want to like ponder what happens. A lot of the scenes are from the perspective of the forest. And when you look at the door, when they open it, there's a lot of bright light that comes from the house. That's amazing. I really like that. And they do that a lot. You know? Yeah. But so you said Cheryl goes out into the darkness. She wants to leave.
Yeah, they get back to the cabin, and then that's when shit's supposed to go down. But what happens first?
I'm telling you right now, because I'm looking at it.
Spoiler alert. We're talking about the fucking movie, but Cheryl is the first one to turn. Yes,
she turns. Oh, while she's trying to get out of there, I'm looking at it right now, so we don't gotta worry about it. Maybe we cut this out if it's too much this or that. But they're driving away. They see that the road is broken. They're like, "Fuck!" So we gotta heading back. And let's see. Sorry. Ash is listening to the recording.
Okay.
So he's listening to it, and then this is exactly how it happens.
And then the cards, they start playing with the card games. And
I thought that was a perfect way into everything. And all you hear is Jack of Cards, Heart of Nines, like in that voice. And then Cheryl just goes batshit crazy, and they're kind of nonchalant about it too.
Yeah,
like she looks like crazy zombie, and they're like Cheryl.
They're like, did you see her eyes?
Yeah, like she wasn't just deformed. And so she like kind of turns like that, like she's like and then she kind of floats into the air. She's swiveling her neck like this. I'm watching it right now, and then they're like, "Yo, something's up with Cheryl." She's floating, bro.
Yeah, it's like I think the floating effect is so cool too.
It is.
It looks so good. I think like for the 80s too. Yeah, it's just like, yo, man, wild.
A lot of me was thinking like, how did they do this? But again, it's just at the right time this movie was made, I think so. Because I don't know. I mean, I like that in X that like this is an all white cast, but in X is more a diverse cast. Like you have Kid Cudi who's black, and then you have I think somebody who's Russian. I think so. And it's predominantly white, but I think man, if you like this, you love X. Like I'm telling you, like that's more likely gonna be the next movie we do because of this movie. I'm telling you, bro. It's just this on steroids. Swear. Now we're at the pencil scene right here. Show you a little bit of the pencil scene just so you can see. Just because this movie is so fun, man. I know this is the A.M.C section where we talk about it, but it's such a fun movie where I want to watch it all over again. When she sticks the pencil in her, Cheryl's on the ground, and they're like, "What's wrong with her?" And she sticks the pencil in the ankle of Linda. Right? Yeah. And it's just going in there, and Ash is like, "Stop, bitch!"
And the entire time Frankie was explaining that's how long the pencil was in her ankle.
Yes, exactly.
Like, it's literally in there for that long. It's fucking disgusting.
And Ash gets thrown into furniture like 3 times, bro. Ash, it's just hilarious, man.
But the rest of the movie just kind of goes down they throw Cheryl down the cellar.
Yeah,
they lock her up in there.
And she keeps bringing the cellar door up. She's like, "Get me out!" And then I love when they're like, "Join us, join us." It's just so dope. I'm an idiot. I have notes here that I could be following. I'm just so intrigued with the movie. But yeah.
They lock up Cheryl in the cellar and stuff, and then from there, who's the next person that eats it? It's Linda because she's the one that got stabbed.
Yeah. But that doesn't happen for a bit. I think it just so I see here like Scotty hits Cheryl, right? And I write, I don't know, man. Scotty hits Cheryl like he's been wanting to for a while now.
Damn.
Because he hits her mad hard. And so they all fall asleep afterwards. And I'm like, yo, so they all gonna fall asleep while their friend is in the basement? And I write
they argue about like we should leave now, and it's like we'll come get her in the morning.
Mhm.
We'll come get Linda in the morning or something.
Yeah. And right now, like everybody's just asleep. They're just contemplating, but Cheryl's still creeping out, like peeking at them, and they don't know what to do. And it's funny how they're arguing her, but they also have the perspective of Cheryl in the cellar door. Like it's like her looking through, and it's her trying to look at get out basically. And then the
Good movie.
Good fucking movie. And then we see here. Let's see. Fucking
From there, pretty much. Yeah, they try and go to sleep and stuff, and that's when Scotty goes to check on his girl Linda, and then he fucking tries to check on her wound, and then that's when she fucking just springs up from the bed and starts attacking him.
Yep, and attack he gets because now he doesn't know what the fuck to do. Cheryl, I love how they constantly refer to the cellar, so it's always a big havoc, a mess. Like, bro, you all you hear is rah, rah, and the voices are really good too. You know, you get the voices of Cheryl, which is pretty a basic demon voice. You see here right now, I think she gets thrown into the fire, Linda. But the voice of the other girl, the third one that gets turned, it's like a little girl voice. She's like, like laughing and stuff.
Shelly.
That was a perfectly well done voice, I think. So it's so weird, it's so creepy, and her eyes are rolled back. And I mean, shout out to the makeup artist for this because to refer to Doctor Strange, like you're right, it isn't perfect zombie makeup. Like it could be better, but for the 80s, this is perfect makeup. You know, like you expect some realistic shit in 2022. But this is really hand done. He gets thrown into the furniture again, and I love it, man. I love it. And you can tell some parts are fake, and this is what I'll get into the second movie. But I think it was such a good level of everything, where it wasn't too much new. How can I say new tactics playing into the first one?
Okay.
A lot of the second one has a lot of claymation and a lot of this or that, and I wasn't particularly a fond of that one.
Ooh,
yeah. We'll get into the second one in a bit, but I didn't like the second one as much as the first one at all.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually only like the first one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. So this is when what's his name? Scotty cuts off the hand of Linda when she's possessed and shit. And yeah, it just
Scotty goes to town on her.
Yeah.
Fucking just chops her up and stuff, and then they go bury her outside.
Yeah, man.
And the movie just kind of plays out where they just kind of eat the dust one by one from there.
From there on out, that's pretty much what it does.
And like Scotty gets it next because he tries to leave, and then he comes back with like a bunch of wounds and stuff. He's like, "Oh, it attacked me and whatever."
And they don't really show what happens to him. He steps out, and the story continues with Ash and everything. But then he just comes in all crazy looking, like scarred, this and that.
Yeah, and by that point, Shelly has also turned.
Yeah.
And that's when she's doing like the little girl thing and whatever. And so Ash has fucking Cheryl in the cellars like spazzing out.
Yeah.
He's got fucking Scotty dying like on the couch. And then he's got fucking Shelly doing the little girl thing in the hallway.
Yeah.
And he's like losing his goddamn mind.
He's like, bro, just fucking leave me alone. Everybody just leave me alone. And there's a basement scene where there's a projector that plays. I love that scene so much, man, because what Sam Raimi does a lot from what I've seen is uses blood and light to really show together. And so when the projector goes on suddenly, Ash is standing in front of it. So he's kind of interfering with the display of the projector. And then blood just gets smeared everywhere on the light bulb and everything turns red. And on the projector, it's so strategic how blood drips down on the lens of the projector, but on the screen, it just shows blood and then Ash standing in front of it. And when it's so good. Like that
Did that happen in the first one or the second one?
Oh, was it the second one? Whoops. I think it was the first one because I see here like what did it on right now? He's trying to cut up it might have been the second one. Whoops.
Because I remember he has to in the second one they have to go back into the cellar.
Oh, it was the second one. Spoiler.
So you like something about it.
Shut up. I made like two things. My bad. So let's backtrack there. So now we got Linda going crazy with the little girl voice, and they say the only way Shelly, the only way to truly get rid of the ghost is by dismembering the body, right? So that's why he's about to cut her up with a chainsaw because she's turned over. But they play tricks on Ash by going back to the regular cells to the zombie cells. Yeah, and he just can't do it. He should have done it, but he can't do it.
And so he fucking he decide what does he do to Shelly? Because he basically
I think he just leaves her there.
Does he stab her?
No, I think he was supposed to tie her up right there, right? But then he gets rid of her.
He does stab her. He stabs her in the back, and she falls on the couch.
She falls in the car and she just stays there.
And well, then Ash says that he's gonna go bury her, and then and that's when he like starts remembering that about the dismemberment, and he's like, I can't do it, so I'm just gonna bury her instead.
And then she pops out, so he just hits her like a motherfucker.
And this is where we get to the scene where you were referring to with the eyes, where because Ash is finally burying or digging up the grave, and fucking Shelly's right behind him, and it's just cuts back and forth with like their eyes. So
there we go. Yeah. Like it's just such a that's a specific thing you kind of have to see, but it's a callback to that. Yeah. But now she's turned and so. Oh man, sorry. I know this A.M.C. section is me just being excited and a lot of this and that, but it's
just for the first half apparently.
Yeah, it's such a perfect movie, man, and I just don't get to experience a lot of good classics that are horror. I haven't ventured into them. Like Freddy vs. Jason and stuff, like those things were kind of. I was always scared when I was younger because I was just scared. I was just like, this shit is creepy as fuck. But I think of like Jeepers Creepers and The Hills Have Eyes and all these movies that were like either just terrifying for me to watch, or when I watch them, I'm like, oh, they're just kind of basic ass storylines, Not to disregard them, but this one, there's a lot of imagery and the camera work is so non-professional. Respectfully though, like you can tell it was a handheld cam and the camera shaking a lot, which is to cause that unease. There's a lot of shots that are askew, like a Spike Lee shot where it's like to make the people look like bad guys. So there's a lot of that, but I just look at it as a movie that does so much with what little it has in terms of funding, which I didn't know at that point, but it kind of comes off as that. But the story is so pure and of its time that it ages like fine wine.
Yeah,
like it's really great.
It's a goodie.
Yeah, man.
I mean, the rest of the movie just kind of plays out where
Ash is battling his life.
Yeah, fucking Shelly jumps on him and like outside, and Ash takes the shovel and fucking chops her head off.
Oh yeah, and it just comes flying off.
Yep.
And even those parts, the head you could tell was fake as fuck, right? But it's so forgivable because you're like, now you're invested. Now you're like, okay, what's gonna happen to Ash?
There's the one shot when they're shoving Cheryl down the cellar where it's straight up like a doll.
Yeah. And you just don't care. You're just like, yo, bro, like I'm here for the ride. No judgment zone.
But yeah, and so fucking that's it. Shelly's dead.
Yeah.
And he goes in and Cheryl is still fucking spazzing out in the cellar. And then that's when Scotty turns. And then fucking Ash has to take down Scotty.
Scotty's strong as fuck.
Oh, during the time that I remember during the time that Ash was outside burying Shelly, that's when Cheryl broke out of the cellar.
Oh, okay. How did she break out though? She just broke it?
She just like kept slamming the thing and just kept and just opened it eventually.
Oh, I think it was the first one where the projector and stuff. Because I have it right here on the notes and everything.
Okay.
So, Also, this was filmed in Morristown, Tennessee.
Nice.
So that's what I got for that and everything. Just, fun fact.
Frankie's fun facts. Alliteration.
And there's a great shot where Ash is looking into the mirror. And rather than be a mirror, like he goes to touch the mirror and it's water. Mm-hmm. So, and it's perfect because you understand that what they do is they cut to the inner shot and they put the thing on the floor and he puts his hands within, but it's done so well where you can really think like this is happening right there. And this I wanted to bring up really quick. When I was in Utah, we went to the zoo, right? Mm-hmm. And European the zoo, whatever, but I had a good ass time. Saw a rhino and shit. We saw a gorilla, and it was like you can get really close, not touching and shit, but there was just like a little glass that was between us, and you can tell this gorilla had been transferred from Florida to here, and so it was accustomed to people just watching it. And we put our hand up to the thing, and it came up to us, and he put her hand in the glass. She put her hand in the glass and tapped on the mirror with her big ass finger, and Beatrice's hand was next to it. It was cool. It was like an adorable moment, something that she was used to doing. And I asked Beatrice, I was like, what do you think it feels when it sees its reflection? Like, what if I get my iPhone and show it her reflection with the selfie cam? Oh yeah, there we go. And she was like, well, they're used to seeing the reflection. They're in the wild, they look at the water and they see the reflection. I was like, I never thought about that. That's kind of that ass.
That's the OG reflection.
Yeah, that ass. Like, how it looks.
You said selfie cam. Yeah. Fucking millennial.
Hey man, I'm talking about the Evil Dead right now. And so after that shot, what I do see here that I wrote is that now he has to kill Scotty. and he had a gun, but he can't use the gun. So what does he do? He puts his thumbs in Scotty's eyes
And gouges
and
his eyes out.
And what I think of when I saw that, I think of I'm melting. You know, like when they do that stuff, crazy.
Like the blood is so like thick and just
Thick,
like,
man. Yeah, yeah.
just oozes out.
Yeah. Fucking, and then eventually, when like shit is still going down, it's reaching the finale part almost, and then somebody's pulling him, but he has to get the book because he understands he's gonna burn the book.
Yeah, Cheryl is like whacking him, and Scotty is like pulling him by the leg, and he's reaching for the Necronomicon that's close to near the fireplace.
And what does he use to get it?
He uses the fucking ugly ass necklace.
I wrote how the necklace pulled the book is beyond me, but I ain't mad at it because this necklace seems to get no grip with the book whatsoever. But he's just trying to use it to hook in the book that's like way heavier than it, and somehow does it.
Hey man, the 80s.
Fucking and then after the book is burned, the bodies just disintegrate into this disgusting, actually gross visual.
Yeah,
like it's really disgusting how they die. And yeah, I was like, gross. And then I wrote Ash PTSD'd out the ass.
What's really fun about the Evil Dead franchise is that there's also a TV show called Ash versus Evil Dead, and it's a sequel to the movies.
Wow.
Just the first two. The third one technically isn't in canon. But
I've definitely heard of Ash versus the Evil Dead before, which is now making a lot of sense.
They combine the first two movies into one canon, and so in the show there's a certain point where they go back to Ash's hometown, and he gets bullied there where everyone calls him Ashy Slashy because he killed all of his friends in a cabin in the woods.
But they don't understand that it was because he had to and shit.
Yeah,
that is a good show.
Yeah, it's a good show.
I gotta check that shit out, man. That actually seems pretty dope. What?
Yeah, it's more Evil Dead.
Is he in it?
Bruce Campbell.
Wow.
Yeah, he reprises the role and everything.
Nice.
And he's like middle aged and everything, and like they play on that and all that. So it's really good.
They asked him to do the voice of the video game. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
And he was like, I just can't do any of that shit no more. I can't blame you, bro. You're pretty old. That article's recent. It's like 2 years ago, a year ago, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, the game just came out. So.
Oh, shit. I gotta check this shit out.
Yeah, I don't know if you know anything about the game, but it's kind of like Dead by Daylight.
What's it called? The game?
Evil Dead the game.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, we are selling more movies.
But it plays like Dead by Daylight, and you can play as Ash or any of the other characters in the Evil Dead franchise.
Nice.
And just fight off Deadites, and is what the demons are called in the franchise, Deadites.
That's cool as fuck. I'm about to buy that game tonight.
I was like, man, we should play this on the fucking podcast.
I'm with it. I'm fucking with it, bro. So then we get to the end. Basically, the movie's coming to an end.
It comes daylight, and he's fucking defeated,
covered in blood
and everything. And he steps outside, and it seems like everything's A-okay. And then it cuts to the fucking camera. The demon entity just swoops in, just breaks in through the doors of the house.
He yells,
and just yells, and he goes basically into his mouth. And it's the end of the movie.
And then the beautiful ending when the music comes in, and it's like, yeah. To me, I think of like, whatever. But it's just a playful old song, and it says directed by Sam Raimi. And I right here, Sam Raimi is a god. I write that 100% because to the T, man, to the end, the very, very end, it's just a perfect song. Like. I love shit like that. People do it all the time. With like, I don't know if you ever watched what's that movie. Insidious.
Yeah,
that's a good movie. I think there's a little bit of overrated to it, but ultimately it's that one major scene with the red face in the background. That shit was scary as fuck.
Yeah.
But they used the song referred to a lot in SpongeBob. No, I can't do it at all.
Yeah.
But it was perfectly put, for how can I say, like for a horror movie, because it's so out of place. And I liked it. I very much enjoyed it. And I give this movie a 10 out of 10. I give it a 20 out of 10 if I could, bro. It's so fucking good.
Nice. I
really, really enjoyed it. And I didn't know what to expect. When you're watching an old movie like that, you have no idea. But yeah, man, I'm very grateful. Like, I feel like anybody that wants to make a film, like, should watch this just to get inspired by what a good film can be without a strenuous budget. Because it don't need it. Definitely don't need it.
Yeah. I mean, this movie's a classic for a reason.
Yeah, man.
But like to just keep on going with it with the second one, what they do pretty quickly in the first like 10 minutes of the movie is that they retcon the first movie.
Yeah.
they just say that's cool, but actually this happens instead.
Yeah, right.
And
That's why I was confused about the beginning when it was like, what the fuck? Like I thought everything, but it's just him and his girlfriend, right?
yeah, it's him and Shelly, and it like you still see the necklace and everything and all that stuff, and they recreate him killing her like with the shovel, like chopping off her head and everything, and him burying her and all that.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, that's when the movie becomes a completely different movie.
Literally. Now we start off with these people who are looking for the pages of the Book of Dead, right? Like kind of like historians, I would say, or archaeologists.
Yeah, archaeologists. Yeah, and like they're this girl is like going back home to where her parents are, should be in the cabin and whatever, and kind of cuts back and forth like that. It's kind of like a B plot almost, B hole, and fucking it pretty much from that point on, Ash starts going a little crazy.
Yeah, really crazy
because he starts like huddling himself inside the cabin and like closing himself off and whatever. And then he fucking looks out the window and he sees fucking hand just stick out of the grave that he just digged.
And that's an iconic shot, right?
Yeah.
That hand up at the grave. Like I think that's how this whole thing started with the last time we had the podcast and stuff like that, right? And then then shit gets crazy. He gets thrown out the house into this shot where he just like whoosh, like, you know, just it's really, I wonder how they did that.
What shot?
This one right here.
When he gets gushed with blood?
Yeah.
This shot?
So this shot, for those who are just listening, is he basically gets like thrown so fast into the woods where it's just a perspective of the front of him, and he's like, and he falls finally into some muddy water, and he arises as a zombie, right? And then he just, this is an incredible shot right here. I think it was one of the most incredible shots throughout the whole movie, but they kind of whiten the eyes, and then the whitening of the eyes goes away through a smoke.
Yeah.
And I thought that was that part I did like very much. But it comes out here as a zombie, and already there's a very different look to the zombie look. I think so. Like there's much different things.
They really try and make the Deadites look like their own, kind of similar, I would say, to like Ghostbusters almost, where it's like every ghost kind of looks like their own. Like that, I feel like that's what they definitely did with Evil Dead 2. And with Army of Darkness, they just kind of pushed that even further, and with the TV show as well. So this was like kind of the beginning of that, where they were really getting like wonky with it, I guess, or just getting like really creative with it. But yeah, he fucking flies out. Yeah. He turns into a fucking Deadite, and then the sun turns him back pretty much. So like, and he's making goofy faces and stuff. He's such an expressive actor. Super.
Oh man. But it kind of shows that now as soon as the day comes, you're good. But then it goes to show really like he's not good at nighttime though.
Yeah, and because the way that he turned into a Deadite is because he got bit in the hand. And the reason that happened is because he sees that his girlfriend, Shelly, sticks her hand out of the grave and she comes out of it. Yeah. And there's like a whole like stop motion thing where she dances in the night. Yeah. And it's really funny. And,
there we go. And it's those things that for me were like, it was just so stressed and focused on it. I felt like, I mean, I guess I'm just spoiled with new movies, right? With like how they would have done it so much cleaner. I felt like the bit rate to kind of put it in was just, it had to put up with the film. Like I don't know how I'm gonna say this. Like it was just awkward for me. It was awkward for me visually. Okay, because you could see how it's stop motion, like you said. So they had to literally like boom, 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 and you can see it. And I write a little thing here, which isn't perfect, but I feel like there's this awkward period of time in movies that use advancing technology to depict a more realistic gore or effect in movies, but rather than help, it just makes it worse. This starts off with plenty of that when the first one had a simpler take to it. And then the next thing I write as I continue to watch the movie, I'm not digging this dog.
Damn.
Yeah, like, and again, I don't hate this movie. Like, I'm not, but I definitely, if I were to pick one or two, like, always one. Like, there's never a time, and I gotta watch it more. But from this little period of time, I definitely like the first one already way better.
I mean, I'll just say outright that I've always preferred the second one over the first one.
Okay, cool.
I fell in love with the first one, but I just think the second one is just like almost definitive in a way. I'm just cool. Like, especially in terms of like canon and things like that. I'm just kind of like, yeah, like the second one is like definitely like the definitive one. But
just like Sony, agreement is respect.
yes, agreement doesn't always mean respect.
There we go. Exactly.
Or no, sorry, respect doesn't always mean agreement.
Now let's talk about our dogs real quick.
Link is like, what the fuck?
Who are these guys, man? But yeah, right here I write the claymation. I thought it was claymation ballerina dance, and then she just flies off, which is hilarious to me because she's doing a dance and then she's like, "Wait!"
I love it. It's so funny.
It is pretty funny.
And then Ash spazzes out and he realizes that he's having a dream.
Yeah.
But psych, because then Shelly's head just rolls out from the ceiling and lands on his lap and fucking bites him on the hand. And it's funny because he just starts slamming her head everywhere, just trying to fucking like get her off.
And you hear the crunches, like, but he's just like, "How do I get up?" And then he finally finds it. Right here, Ash can't catch a break. And then he finds that tool that you kind of place something
like
there.
the clamping tool or whatever, and he clamps her head in it.
And even with that, like he puts the thing there and it cuts to a shot of her head in it, but it didn't look like that at all.
Yeah. It's just you go with it.
Yeah, you're right. That's maybe one thing that I guess because it was a sequel, I was like expecting this, same but leveled up thing of it. And I guess it was kind of it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, because something you also got to consider is that even though the first one came out in 81, it took them 2 years to make. So they started in 79.
Look at that.
Even though it came out in the 80s, it barely came out in the 80s.
Yeah, you're right.
So there's definitely a difference from because they got a 6-year gap between them. So I feel like they escalated almost everything because with a bigger budget, it's like there's more deadites, there's more blood, quite literally. There's more gore, more humor. It's just everything just pushed to 11.
But the camera is always perfect. That's one thing I will say in both movies. Like, there's a lot of those things that I didn't like about the second one, where it's like the stop motion, this and that. But like, when it comes down to the grit of the movie, like it's still a very good movie. It's still, and it is funny, and it's still very good. Like it just to watch it back to back like I did was very fun too, because you kind of just jump to the next one. Yeah, and it was dope.
And but he fucking clamps Shelly's head, and he goes for the chainsaw, but it's not there. And then in that moment, fucking Linda's body just comes in with the chainsaw,
and he's like, and he's fighting it off and shit
with like a tire iron or whatever.
He gets these fucking powers out of nowhere.
He gets plot powers, and he just whacks the chainsaw,
and she's holding it headless and stuff like that,
and it just swings up backwards into her neck hole, and
that was
slices her inwards.
Yeah, bro.
And so then Ash finally takes a chainsaw and he's about to chop Shelly's head or chainsaw her head, and she switches back to human for a second. She's like, "Don't do it," and he's like, "No,
Shelly."
It's so good.
That's funny as fuck.
And he just fucking goes in and just starts fucking cutting into her head.
Blood just spews on his face and shit like that, right?
And he goes back inside, and then that's when fucking it gets really ridiculous with this movie, where it starts getting into sort of slapstick comedy. Where it just fucking his hand turns.
That's funny as fuck, and it's like, and it's like expressing happiness and sadness and stuff. And
the same hand that got bit by Shelly is now completely turned and is trying to attack Ash.
And it just like keeps punching him, and it keeps this and that, hits him with glass, plates.
Yeah, with plates and shit.
That I thought it was really cool, because I'm sure, because it's such a younger movie in terms of today, that people were like, how's he doing that to himself? And there's that special plate you can hit yourself with in movies. Which I thought was really cool. And then he's like, yo, I can't have this hand no more. What the fuck am I gonna do?
And he fucking passes out, and supposedly passes out, and the hand sees a butcher knife, and he goes, huh? And it starts dragging him across the fucking floor. And right as it's about to reach the butcher knife, Ash just fucking takes a knife and stabs his own
right
hand
in the
into
middle.
The ground.
Unfazed too. He's phased for sure. He's like, but not as much as I think when you can stab your own hand. What do you think about this? So I was thinking, if your hand is controlled, right? Like you're like, because at first, and if you're seeing, the hand was like that, like, right? So he's punching himself. But why does the arm and the shoulder follow?
I guess it's like the force,
the strength of it, right? Like if it just follows.
Because I kind of thought the same thing too.
I was thinking,
but I just, you go with it.
That's the theme of these movies, and it's true. If you're trying to watch this movie too seriously, chill the fuck out. Like just have fun with this movie, because The movie is meant to have fun for
Yeah.
sure. And the first one was pretty spooky, not too much, but it was like a good amount. But the second one definitely allows itself to be humorous and have fun.
Yeah.
And even the Sam Raimi, the rat in the movie when he falls on the stairs, apparently his name is Mr. Testicles.
Mr. Testicles.
Senor Cojones.
Nice.
Yeah, just a whole bunch of stuff. The fun facts are hilarious, man. Yeah.
But yeah, fucking, he stabs his own hand and he says, "Oh, you like that, buddy?" And he fucking grabs the chainsaw and fucking saws off his own hand.
Oh man, savage! and then he just handless, and then
he puts the hand in a bucket.
Yeah, and then put some books over it,
and the book says
a
farewell to arms.
That shit was funny. That shit was so funny. How can I say? There's another mirror scene in this movie, and this mirror scene was the one where he's looking at himself, and then the reflection comes out at him and grabs him on the shoulders, and that was really well done because
I thought that was better than the first one.
Yeah, man, because it wasn't even that couldn't have been green screen effect. That had to be like a double,
like a body double.
And then the only thing they fucked up was eyebrows. They made his eyebrows, if you notice, way too thick. But I thought it was very good, very fucking good, and I really love that he has those little glimpses of just cinematic amazingness, because those things inspire the future. Those are the things you see and you're like, fuck, like I could have done that, and then I did it first, bitch. And so yeah, I think it's really cool.
Yeah, he fucking before that even happens, he still is fighting his own hand because the hand gets out from underneath the bucket, so he has to take the shotgun and he starts shooting the wall, and like the hand. I love the moment where he's reloading the shotgun, so the hand starts like rolling its fingers against the ground, like waiting and shit. And fucking as soon as he's ready to shoot, the hand walks into the mousetrap.
It gets caught by the mousetrap.
It gets caught by the mousetrap.
I don't remember. That's hilarious.
And it starts like freaking out, and Ash laughs. He's like, "Ha!
I got you now."
But he still misses the fucking shot because he's shooting one-handed.
Yeah, bro.
And fun fact, they chop off his right hand because Bruce Campbell is left-handed.
Oh, okay.
So he still wanted to keep using his left hand.
Mm-hmm.
So
pretty smart. I wrote here, Ash, just kill yourself. Pretty much.
But he finally gets his hand. He shoots these holes in the wall.
Yeah.
And then the walls just come gushing out with blood. The holes that he created. Just everywhere, and he's just getting soaked in blood. Man,
there's a lot of blood in this one, more than the other one for sure. Yeah. Just a shitload of blood,
and the fucking blood turns black and just gets sucked back into the walls. Yeah, man,
that was a pretty good shot. They had to do that. They just rewinded it. I'm assuming. Oh yeah, right?
That had to be reversed for sure.
So dope.
But that's when Ash starts to go crazy. The mirror scene happens, and then like the rest of the house, the deer cracks its neck and starts laughing.
Yeah, everybody just starts laughing, and then Ash starts laughing.
Ash starts laughing, and he has that moment with the lamp where he starts like getting up and down with the lamp, and like dancing with the items.
That I liked a lot, to be honest, and I love the laugh of the deer in particular. It was just so perfect, man. Everything was pretty dope with that scene, to be honest with you.
And he's going so wild that as soon as he hears a knock on the door, he just fires away. And
it was the two like historians, let's say, and then it was the two people that helped them find the cabin since the bridge was broken. And I don't remember their name. I know the girl's name of the boyfriend of the helpers were like Bobby Joy or something. Bobby Joe, right? And so they're like, "What the fuck are you doing shooting us?" So they kind of tackle him down, and Ash should defend himself because like, I don't know who the fuck you guys are, and I just been through hell.
Yeah. And
they throw Ash in the cellar. They're like, "Yo, fuck this guy. You know, we're here to take our shit, and he's attacking us." But Ash is trying to say something, but he gets knocked out, so he has no idea what's happening.
Yeah. And he's in the cellar, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. They think that maybe Ash killed this girl's parents. So they start listening to her dad's recording, and it just shows about how he had to kill his wife because after he did the incantation, it raised the dead, and his wife got taken over, Henrietta, and that he had to bury her in the fruit cellar. And that's when Ash is like, and fucking that's when you have that gross shot of fucking Henrietta just shoving her head out the ground.
Disgusting, bro. And she looks gross. And she right now, I seen it right here, she's chasing Ash, and they're doing the key thing again where they're trying to open the door to Ash. They're like, we believe you, motherfucker, but we gotta get you out. Ash is like, stop. I love the cellar door because it's so perfect, because it's just a perfect like boom, 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 and everything is happening, boom, and then
with the chains and everything too. Man. It's so like gothic, honestly.
And it's old school keys. It's not like modern keys. That was just a cool touch, just cause. And then now you get it was Henrietta, right? That's the mom's name.
Yeah,
and she's just there with like a long neck. It reminds me of Tremors. You ever seen Tremors?
I don't know.
I think Kevin Bacon's in it, but it's kind of like you gotta. I used to watch it when I was younger, but not too much. You step on the ground, these monsters from the below will eat you. So they kind of figured out a way to walk around without touching the sand, because as soon as you do, they're so sensitive that they'll just pop up. But her neck extended looks like a tremor, if I even remember correctly, because that's an old movie. But when they slam the door on the Henrietta's head, the eyeball pops out.
Yeah, and lands in Bobby Joe's mouth. fucking disgusting. Yeah. So funny though.
Yeah. And now Ash is handless the whole time.
Yeah,
that's funny.
and he and the redneck dude, they just close off the cellar. I really like that shot. That shot always stuck in my head.
Right here.
Yeah, where they're just on top of the cellar door, just like waiting for it to pass, basically.
Yeah,
and it finally stops for a second. They look at each other, and then it shakes one last time.
Yeah.
just such a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
But they start figuring out what they're gonna do next, and that's when they start getting attacked one by one, and the movie kind of plays out as such. But the movie is just so gory. Because you fucking see that Bobby Joe, she
the boyfriend of the girl turns.
The boyfriend of the girl,
which we don't know his name, right? He just kind of gets nameless.
I forget honestly, but how does he get got?
Honestly, for me, like
was it Cheryl like ripping his leg or something like that, or?
I don't know.
Or not Cheryl, Henrietta, I mean.
Because for me, like when I was watching it, even the first time, he just sprouts and turns, like right here. Like right now, all you'll see, they're in the room discussing what they're going to do, and he just pops up turning and like doing funny motions.
Something had to have happened to him for him to turn.
Yeah.
But he turns first, and Ash takes good care of him real quick. And there's definitely a big difference from Ash in the first Evil Dead to the second one. In the second one, he's a lot more active.
Yeah.
Like in the first one, he's not even much of the main character. Like, you would think that Scotty's like the main character.
I thought Ash was gonna die in the first one. I had no idea it would end up being him to continue on to the next film and stuff.
So in the second one, like he's really a lot more headstrong and like just going forward and stuff, because he's the one that thinks to himself, wait, there's an axe in this room. Yeah. He goes and gets it, fucking takes care of this dude.
And he's kind of leading everybody now. Like as soon as they found out, okay, now he's not an asshole, he's just trying to protect himself. Everybody just kind of following Ash's lead at this point. He's the leader. And the woman who originally thought that he killed his parents, now she's like, I'm gonna help you. Because at first he runs out the room when the boyfriend turns, and the girlfriend yells, "You're a fucking coward!" Yeah. But then he comes back with the axe and just chops his head, and there's green slime all over.
Yeah,
which is interesting. But you said that, right? Everyone is different with the blood and stuff like that. So, but the green slime threw me off. I was like, "What the fuck?"
It also threw me off. I forgot about that too.
So random. Nickelodeon. And then we get this is a really quick shot scene, but the blood just goes over the camera, and it's a little gleam of ash. But I like in the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, when he was burying Linda, right? I don't know how they did it. Maybe it was just luck, but it was the perspective of being in the ground. And when he threw the shovel of dirt in there, it covered this camera, but left just enough to see Ash's face. I don't know how they did that. Maybe it was a tube or something like that. But it was,
I don't know.
It was perfect. So again, maybe it was one of those luck things or just really strategic. Like
I remember the shot, but I don't remember seeing Ash's face through like the dirt.
It was just right there. Like it was just a perfect little snippet of him. And I thought it was cool. I was like, man, again, you either get lucky or you just really work for it.
Yeah, they fucking take care of that dude. They bury his body, and then they start seeing some shit go down in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And then they go to check it out, and it's this girl's father, like, coming as a ghost, being like, you guys gotta read the incantations from the Book of the Dead to fucking fix all this.
Open up the Vex, right? And
yeah,
then
like
only
the rift or whatever.
You push them into it, right?
Yeah. And they're like, dope. We'll do that.
Say less.
They're like, we're fucking on it. And so, but the lights go out.
Yeah.
And because Bobby Lee is getting held on by a hand.
And she's like, you're holding my hand so tight.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not holding your hand. He's so
good.
Thank you. He's so out of her league though, which is the funniest thing. He's like missing teeth and he's like almost bawling, and she's like a beautiful woman. That scene was funny.
So Bobby Joe just fucking runs out of there.
Yeah.
And she gets attacked in the woods pretty much. And then that's when this dude starts the redneck tries to take control with the gun, and he's like, no, we're
You're
not
gonna help me help Bobby Lee.
And he takes the pages and he fucking throws them down the
What an
cellar.
asshole for doing that. Like, because the pages, the only person that could translate it was the girlfriend, the main person, the historian, let's call her. And she's the only one that could translate it, right? And the boyfriend is dead, so he's no longer allowed, and Bobby Lee's just running to the woods right now. What is it with these white ladies just running to the woods? Thinking it's safer. And then she proceeds to get raped as well, but she doesn't get raped in this one, I don't think so.
No, she gets like dragged off.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
her clothes get ripped and stuff pretty erotically.
Yeah. Sam Raimi. But you're right here she's just getting dragged off. They don't. I wonder why though. I wonder, maybe it was just too strong subject matter, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe.
But she gets dragged crazy from what I'm saying. God damn. Jesus, bro. Oh, and then this is interesting and I think very important. In the papers, in the book, there's shows of a legend who saves basically the town from things like that. And that's very crucial towards the end.
And they say in 1300 AD or
300 AD, I think so.
Or something like that, that some dude like came from the skies and saved everything or saved everyone. And in the little drawings, it definitely looks like Ash with the chainsaw and stuff.
Groovy. We'll get to that in a bit,
but yeah, so fucking the redneck dude starts leading Ash and this chick outside to look for Bobby Joe.
Yeah.
And they can't find her. And then that's when a demon entity camera work starts coming into play again, and it looks like it's gonna get them. So they run back into the cabin.
And then Ash turns. Ash turns into a zombie.
I forgot about that. In that moment, Ash turns into a deadite.
Yeah.
And that's when the redneck and this chick run back into the cabin. Yep. And Ash is chasing them.
And then now the historian locks herself in the house, and she grabs that little knife with the skull at the end, and she's using it to protect herself. And she starts to hear things at the door, and she's like, you know what? The next person that comes in here, I'm stabbing the shit out of them.
She's gonna fucking get it.
Yep. And then guess who walks in? It's me. It's the hillbilly guy, and she just stabs him in the stomach, and that shit must have hurt because he's saying ah.
And it was so funny when she sees that Ash is coming around, and so she starts trying to slam the door on his fucking body.
He's like, stop, I'm all right. I'm all right.
And she drags his body a little bit more, but not enough, so it's just hitting his feet. And you're like, come on, girl. Like, damn, this poor man.
Yo, all he want to do is help you, motherfucker. He even carry your bags, bro. That shit is dumb funny. And then this is a crazy intense shot. So she's basically dragging the hillbilly down to safety. But then, wasn't it Henrietta? What was it?
Henrietta.
She just grabs him, and all you see is blood.
Just gushing out from the cellar, and she's just holding on to his legs.
That's so much blood, man. It's like an ocean full just coming out the cellar door. It just, Jesus. It looks like Kool-Aid.
Bubbling just fucking at the cellar.
How much blood this motherfucker had, bro. And then this motherfucker turns again. He's like, blah, 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 blah.
And Ash fucking throws her across the room, and then he before he reaches her, he finds a necklace on the ground, and the necklace makes him so sad that he turns human again.
You know what that is?
Love.
Yeah. Beat me to it. That's right. Power of love. And he's like, fuck, I did something fucked up.
And he's like, listen to me, we're gonna get those fucking pages.
Yeah, man.
You and me, we're gonna do this shit.
After I just thrown you against the wall. Trust me, I'm on your side.
And they fucking go back into the little shack.
Yeah.
and they fucking prep the chainsaw.
This is go on, but this is just the most hilarious thing. I love it. This I do love a lot. Hold on.
They prep the chainsaw in just such a dope way, where the fucking rig, or what do you call it, the string is attached on a little hook to his chest, so he can rev it up.
That is
on
pretty
its
dope.
own.
I didn't notice that, but that's all because he only has one hand.
Yeah.
So he has chainsaw arm, which I wrote here. If you look at it, it says this. It says chainsaw arm is awesome, and then when he installs it, he says groovy, like a close.
He fucking shaves off the shotgun to turn into a sawed-off shotgun.
So dope.
And he just flips it, and it does the classic whoop,
right there.
like as he's flipping it, and it just like socks back in.
Yeah, this made me think of what's that movie where you're trapped in the mall? Look, wait for it. Groovy, and you're trying to save everybody, but you're using like
Dead Rising.
Oh, it's a great game. It's a fun game. I never beat it really. It's kind of hard, complicated. Like, but then I got a couple of jokes here, right? I wrote a couple of jokes. So I wrote, hand it to Ash for getting the pages.
Okay.
All right, you know.
Okay.
At least Yellow Shirley lend him a hand. Oh, okay. All right. And then I wrote, those demons have to be a handful. Right? I got two more. The next one is, after the first Evil Dead, the story continues.
Okay, that one's a bit of a stretch.
The last one, hand.
that one's my favorite.
That's all I got.
That one's my fucking favorite right there.
Just a hand.
Can we get a fucking round of applause for
let's
that
go.
one?
Round of applause.
Let's go Mets, man.
Let's go Mets. I didn't expect that. Let's fucking go. 86. That's funny.
Oh man.
Nice.
No, groovy.
Yeah, facts. From now on, groovy. I love the words groovy, man, and funky. It's good words.
But the rest of the movie gets fucking crazy from here.
Yeah, seriously.
Ash goes down to the cellar.
Yep.
He gets the pages.
He's ready to fuck shit up. He's tired of everything.
He chainsaws the cellar door.
Yep.
He goes down there. He starts looking for the pages one by one.
Yeah.
And he finally gets them. And he fucking is trying to get out, but Henrietta grabs him by the fucking legs on the stairs.
Yeah.
Right as he's right as he's about to hand the papers.
Mm-hmm.
And so the stairs get I think the stairs get broken, and then Henrietta and Ash are kind of like fighting with each other for a sec. And so Ash comically throws the pages and she just catches them. It's like, nice.
And I like when he finds the pages, they're in water. And so he picks them up, and to dry them off, he just kind of lightly like he just swipes them on his shirt once, like that did anything.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, bro. It's so funny. Like, it's like minimum effort trying. And then fucking Henrietta and Ash are just, like you said, fighting their ass off and this and that. And
Henrietta climbs out or knocks Ash out and climbs out of the cellar as this chick is trying to do the incantation to bring up the rift and stuff. And that's when Ash climbs out of the cellar and heroic music starts playing and he starts fighting Henrietta. And he goes for her arms, cuts off her arms, and goes for the neck. And it seems like it's gonna pull through, and right in that moment, fucking this chick gets stabbed right in the back.
Oh yeah, the
by Ash's hand.
That piece of shit.
And so she starts to die, and then Henrietta's like, "Oh, you thought you won, motherfuckers, this and that."
She's like, blah, 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 blah.
And then the house starts like getting destroyed by like the trees outside and everything. Everything's just fucking going.
Everything's going havoc. Everything's going crazy.
Everything's just going fucking wild. And Henrietta fucking, Ash blows Henrietta's fucking brains out.
And then he does a cool thing again, though.
Yep. And this chick finishes the incantation.
Yep.
And then they have a moment like, we did it and whatever. And you see the rift opening up outside and it starts to suck in Ash's car.
Everything.
And then the demon entity just fucking bursts in.
This crazy,
see it.
sharp teeth, crazy mother. I like how the flowers die when he comes in. When the entity comes to the door, the flowers die behind Ash. That was a good little touch. And Ash is like, rah, 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 rah.
And he just gets that random white streak of hair.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Oh,
yeah, he just has a random like white streak on his left side.
He's stressed, bro.
Not on the right side.
The opposite side?
You can see right on his left side.
Oh,
a white
yeah.
streak.
Interesting.
for some reason. He got so stressed in
like
that one moment.
For some reason. Yeah, what the fuck? That's hilarious.
But fucking the demon entity grabs Ash, and then the incantation gets finished.
Yeah.
And Ash chainsaws its eye, and a bunch of
Purple
goo or whatever just starts oozing out, sliming out everywhere.
Yeah, man.
And it looks like everything's all good. The chick dies in her last breath.
Everybody has to die for Ash to fucking prosper. It's hilarious.
And then Ash seems like it's all good and whatever for a second. And then fucking things just start flying across the room because the door just swings open and the rift just widens up and just starts sucking everything up inside the room. And Ash
is just spinning in circles.
Into the rift.
Yep.
Spinning circles, seeing some trippy shit.
Yeah, pretty dope things actually. There's a big explosion.
And he fucking just falls down from the sky with his car.
Which is interesting because the car gets obliterated, but Ash is perfectly fine.
You know,
just go with it.
Just go with it.
And he lands in this desert area where like these soldiers.
He gets approached by like medieval soldiers. And fucking, they're like, "Yo, man, you're a fucking demon.
Yeah,
like,
who
what
the
you doing?
fuck are you?
Who the fuck is this guy?
What the F?"
And then a fucking deadite comes swooping in on its wings, and Ash, heroic music comes in again. He takes his shotgun and blows its fucking brains out.
And you know what I was thinking? You know how much recoil a gun has? And he's just doing this unexperienced with one arm. Just, bro, you know, he would have separated his shoulders 17 times. But it's Ash, so it's okay.
It's Evil Dead, man.
Yeah, man. He just shoots him right here. Boom.
Boom.
Damn.
And fucking thing just gets obliterated.
Yeah.
And everyone gets mad hyped. They're like, "Oh, hell.
This guy's a baller."
And he's like, No.
Yeah. And it's gonna especially suck when he runs out of bullets. Yeah.
And the movie just ends with everyone hailing, and it just ends with a shot of two fists, and that's fucking Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, man. And I'll tell you this, man, it definitely is a great like double movie. Like it was, the first one was so good and old school that it felt like October. Like it felt like Halloween was just here now, even though summer just started and shit. But I'm gonna be watching this so many times. I'm gonna show Beatrice ASAP. Like I have to, man. It's just one of those movies where, again, I don't necessarily hate the second one. I just love the first one so much. There's just something about it, and I don't know, man. But both the movies are great, and clearly they're fun. Like, it's just fun, man. That's the best thing about it.
The third one is like arguably the most fun.
I gotta check it out.
Of the trilogy.
I gotta check out the second one. Hand. And yeah, man. So honestly, shout out to Sam Raimi, and I'm looking forward to going and see Doctor Strange again, because now that I am, like, I hope I get the notes of Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 and kind of apply it to watching that. So that's such a great responsibility.
One shot that I instantly like noticed rewatching these movies is that in Evil Dead 2, when Ash wakes up in the pond and the way the camera spins around is exactly like the shot when Doctor Strange wakes up from his nightmare and the camera spins around.
Oh wow, look at that.
And I'm like, oh shit.
Dope. And the hand thing is in Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah,
when the zombie comes out.
When Zombie Strange
That's
comes
so
out.
dope. And they that's so dope because he homaged himself and they allowed him, but it's just such a great joke.
Interestingly enough, the writer to that movie said that Sam Raimi was hesitant about having Zombie Strange in the movie because he didn't want it to be like too like,
dark and everything.
No, he didn't want it to be too obvious of like, this is a Sam Raimi thing. Okay. He was like, is it too Sam Raimi?
No, Sam Raimi. It's just Sam Raimi enough. Yeah. Nah, I'm excited, but I'm also like astounded because Doctor Strange was a good ass movie. Like it was a great movie. To the fact that this guy's resume now is incredible. You know, not that it wasn't already with the Evil Dead. Just the Evil Dead was incredible to me. But with all this other stuff with the Spider-Man, with the show and this, he didn't direct the show, right? He
directed the first episode, but he executive produced the show.
Nice. I think that it's a special person in cinema, like a very special person and very significant, you know, projects he's worked on, you know. But I'm happy we talked about Doctor Strange before this, and I saw Doctor Strange before it because, I mean, it's just history that you love to know, right? And then, man, this movie is so good.
It's so a goodie, man.
Yeah, bro.
Both of them are goodies.
Yeah.
I love both of them.
Nice.
I'm glad you can see why I said we should watch both of them. Since they're both kind of the same movie, but not. And it's like, especially since the second one retcons the first one, like in the first 10 minutes.
No, I'm happy. I would have been anxious. anxious, but also not the best word, but just excited to watch the next one. Like if I didn't see the second one, I would have been like, "What's next? What's next?" But you definitely, I can't stress enough. Check out X, man. You gotta check.
I gotta.
You know, like it's one of those things where you'll see where I'm coming from. But it's also why when I left the theater when I saw X, I was like, "Yo, that was a really well done movie." But again, like I credit the director for sure, but I give Sam Raimi the credit more so because they're different takes on horror.
Mm-hmm.
But for some strange reason, as soon as I finished watching the first Evil Dead, I was like, oh no, like I don't care who directed X. Like, like I'm pretty sure if I look up the interviews for the director of X, it's gonna be referring back to this guy somehow, some way. I could be completely wrong, and it could just be my opinion. But I don't know why this got me more excited for a movie I already saw. It's so interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, bro. But yeah, man.
I mean, I got some reviews for you.
Oh, nice. Yeah, can't go wrong with that.
And I made a little game out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So since we watched 2 movies, I want you to guess what each movie the review's from.
Okay, nice. Okay.
So the first review is from Lucy. They say gore, heard of it, 4 stars.
Second one.
Nope.
Damn.
That was the first one.
All right.
The next one I got for you is cannot for the life of me get into this movie. You know what? I'm just going to blame my disinterest for this on the debate interrupting me halfway through. Perfect. So we're all in agreement not to yell at me because this is the debate's fault, not mine. Fuck you, Mike Pence. Great. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the blood was cool. Big fan of the blood. Some really fun things happening here and there, but just kind of annoying sometimes, and I really didn't care about the people. But how about that fly? 2.5 stars.
1.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Also, can you guess what year that review was made? Debate, Mike Pence.
2012.
2020.
Oh, fuck. I don't know why I said 2012. Shit. You ever seen The Fly with Jeff Goldblum?
No.
Good movie. It's a really good movie. Or The Thing. I don't know if it's either one, but that's a great movie.
I haven't seen The Thing by John Carpenter.
Yeah.
I want to. It's on my list.
It might be The Fly that I'm talking about then, but I'll check out The Thing then because we got AMC. Nice.
Next one I got for you is from Aaliyah. They say, I love movies that just don't give a fuck. Character building? Who cares? Blood! 4.5 stars.
First one.
Yeah.
Nah. See?
All right.
Now I'm
all
just
right.
picking your psyche, to be honest with you. I figured it'd be 3 straight ones. It's like making all the answers A.
Damn, you read right through me.
Got you, bro.
All right.
Let's see.
So you feeling good? You feeling good?
Yeah,
you're
I feel like Ash.
Oh man. You're 2 for 3 right now.
Nice. 75%.
So let's go with this one. This one's a long one. La Rogue says there's absolutely nothing I'm going to start this over.
How dare you?
There's absolutely nothing that can prepare a single soul for what they will witness in Sam Raimi's second film, Evil Dead 2. As anyone should expect, the film has twists, and true Sam Raimi fashion, it goes in directions you wouldn't anticipate. Evil Dead 2 is full throttle horror with many lighthearted moments in its comedic scenes and familial narrative. But for most of its runtime, Raimi's completely fucked up movies is debilitating and incredibly terrifying. Evil Dead 2 is another film grounded in the philosophy of man's inevitable self-destruction. Example, Annihilation, which is a great film.
Yeah.
And Raimi seeks to explore our deepest fears and worst nightmares, offering a new vision that feels like those scary stories you tell your friends during a sleepover when you should be sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Raimi masterfully crafts a world with intriguing mythos and political resonance, foreshadowing that maybe we have been the enemy all along. The direction is seamlessly magnificent. Music is spellbinding. Framing and editing are meticulous. Imagery is wet your bed horrifying. And the cast is scream in your face astonishing. Evil Dead 2 is ridiculous, completely insane, bonkers, and batshit crazy. Sam Raimi creates a masterclass in horror filmmaking in his bold and violently poetic apocalyptic nightmare that is a definite game changer and a soon-to-be horror classic. Watch yourself. 4.5 stars.
Who wrote this? The thing?
La Rogue.
Why don't you just marry the movie, La Rogue? Why don't you just get married to Sam Raimi? Gosh. But obviously it's Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, that one's,
Okay.
But are you sure?
Positive.
Okay. All right.
Let's go Mets.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Yes.
The next one I got for you is from number one Gizmo fan. Let's see if you get this one.
All right.
Fuck anyone who thinks groovy isn't the best line in all of cinema.
Let's go.
5 stars.
Number 2. That's right. Number 1, whatever Gazelle.
Gazelle.
Whatever the fuck your name is.
Gizmo fan.
Gizmo fan.
You called him an animal.
Groovy.
This one I got for you is Justin Tobin. They say the true beginnings of Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell's acid trip. 4 stars.
First one.
Nope.
Oh, damn, bro. Fuck.
You've missed 2 now, Frankie.
Damn, bro.
We're coming to our final one.
Right,
how you feeling? How you feeling?
Crack my knuckles. Look. Fuck it. That didn't work at all. That's a good one. Nice.
All right. Last one by Matt Lynch. They say this is the most excited a movie has ever been to be itself. 4.5 stars.
First one.
Second one.
Damn, bro. Fuck. Shit, bro. Shit. Ooh. God damn. I'm all right with. I got like a 60%, I think. So passing. I'm passing.
Now, I'm gonna throw in a little wheel for you.
All right.
I'm gonna throw in a little chainsaw in the wheel for you.
What's up?
One of these reviews was not for either of those movies.
The one with the fly.
Nope.
Damn.
I'm gonna give you one more shot.
Let's see. One of those reviews were not for the movie. Anybody that thinks groovy isn't the best line. Damn. Which one was it?
So, I cheated.
How dare you?
So, the review by LaRogue is not a review for Evil Dead.
What is it for?
I replaced the movie title with Evil Dead 2 and the director with Sam Raimi to throw you off. I also excluded a section where
is it the Joker? Is it for the Joker, that review, or was it for?
You think it's for the Joker?
It was for something. I think you read this before. I think so. No,
I've never read this before.
Oh, then I don't know. But I thought it was for the Joker. Am I close?
I mean, well, what do you think? There was a whole section like fucking just like blowing the cast too. Yeah. That if I put it in, it would have been 2 on the nose. You would have gotten it.
Let's see. What has a good cast?
Also,
Knives Out.
Nope.
Okay, well,
Us.
I'm done. This podcast is over, bro. Why don't you go marry Jordan Peele, LaRoche? Why don't you go buy scissors?
I replaced every word of Us with Evil Dead 2. Anytime Jordan Peele was referenced, it'd be replaced with Sam Raimi.
I got. That's fucking
also,
funny.
Another thing that you should have noticed is that when I said that this is Sam Raimi's second film, because I also noted.
Well, he made the film between it, right?
Okay. Told you in the beginning of the episode, you got to be on your A game today. I told you that.
You did. Record shows. Shit. Oh, still fuck us.
No, fuck you.
Trash. I got. On Earth Mind Matter. This Earth Mind Matter. What do you got? Fuck.
Oh man, I'm so glad you didn't get that one.
Knives Out. What the fuck was I thinking? I hated that movie. That movie was ass, bro.
What? Yeah. I like Knives Out.
I went to go see it in theaters. And I fell asleep. I was like, Jamie Lee Curtis. She's in it, right? Am I thinking or not?
Maybe. I don't remember.
She might have not. But I was like, this is a huge cast. And I was like, this is just.
You fell asleep to the good part.
I guess so.
You did.
I guess so.
Did you drool on yourself?
I thought a burger came up. But I'm good. Feeling like LaRoche. Shit.
Oh man, but
Evil Dead, what a fun movie.
What a fucking great movie, man.
Yeah, man. Saga. Can you call it a saga?
I mean, because it's a trilogy.
It's a trilogy, right?
Yeah.
Right. A saga just for 2 movies?
A saga's for more than 3, I think.
Oh shit. So Star Wars is a saga.
Yeah.
Nice. So is Alvin Chipmunks.
What?
I think they have like 4 movies type shit.
I mean, I believe
Absolute
you,
garbage.
but I guess it's a saga.
So I just know that Alvin Chipmunks and Star Wars, same.
I don't know if that's what that means.
I don't know, man. I think it means exactly that.
But before we let you guys go,
Oh yeah, very crucial.
make sure to follow us on our socials and things like that.
Yes, so we got Instagram and TikTok, right? Earth
Yep.
Mind Matter Pod. Earth Mind Matter Pod.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then we have the YouTube Earth Mind and Matter.
Yep.
Maybe
Yep.
no end, but you'll see us. If you see our faces, that's us. If it's not, we've done movies on the podcast already, but we've done videos of American History X,
Mouse.
Mouse, and many more visuals and all that stuff, funny jokes and everything, and get some news topics on the elementary and all that stuff on the social and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, look forward to that. And DM us anything you ever want to, movie suggestions, albums, comics. Yeah, look up.
Reach out to us. We're always here.
Yeah, we're lonely. We're on an Akon. But yeah, man.
But that's what happened on the earth.
This is what happened in our minds.
This is why it mattered.
This is Earth, Mind, and Matter.
Welcome to the show, folks.
Good morning, good evening, night.
Boom.
Boom, boom.